Part 27. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 263. Chapter 259, Zoroastrian Cult. Overlooking thousands of miles of rivers and mountains in the wilderness, the green fields are rolling, the mountains are towering, apes are croaking, tigers are roaring, eagles are striking the sky, and there is a sense of wilderness. After 5 years here, it's time to leave. He took a deep breath and pressed his magic power. The light of the eternal light mirror flashed, enveloping him inside, and the more powerful power of space isolated the desolate world from suppressing it. The inner god-fighting talisman in Danshan flashes red light. Disciple Su Junming, I respectfully invite Emperor Guansheng to come to me. I am as urgent as the law. The power of heaven and earth, like gurgling water, pours into the Danshan, and then transfers to the eternal light mirror. It can be seen with the naked eye that the light of the eternal light mirror is getting stronger and stronger, and the power of space that isolates the wilderness is getting stronger and stronger. The power of heaven and earth, which was originally a trickle, quickly grew stronger and soon became a mighty river, surging incessantly. Su Junming's aura continued to rise. After a moment of pause, it suddenly surged a lot. With a buzz sound, the universal light mirror expanded to 3 feet, and the clear water-like mirror light looked like a full moon. Go. A slight scold. The mirror light was reversed, and shrouded in silver light, a black dot appeared in the void, and then slowly expanded. Apple size. Ocean bowl size. The speed gradually slowed down. Su Junming concentrated his concentration, and a Ganoderma-like cloud floated above his head, and the light of a red talisman in it rose sharply. The black hole, which was already the size of a wash basin, expanded again. After slowly reaching the size of a water tank, Su Junming looked at the majestic snow-capped mountains on the other side of the black hole, feeling excited. Walk. The figure flashed and quickly flew in. In just a moment, they crossed thousands of miles and arrived at a huge snow-capped mountain. As soon as the light of the eternal light mirror dimmed, the space channel disappeared instantly. Feel the howling wind around you and the biting coldness, look at the snow-capped mountains in the distance, like dragons and snakes, crawling on the boundless land. A huge excitement surged through my heart. The energy in Danshan surged involuntarily. Ah! I'm back. His physical cultivation was equivalent to that of the late Jin Dan, making his roar sound like thunder. The sound waves of the silver screen exploding echoed through the mountains. Boom was heard repeatedly, and the endless ice and snow collapsed, rolling down like a mighty river. Just like the thunder from the sky stirring up the fire on the earth, the mountains shook. The mighty force lasted for a long time. After expressing the depression in his heart, strong hatred surged into his heart. Golden Eagle King, we will fight until death. With a rush of mana, the soul-calling bell, which he had trained into a mid-grade spiritual weapon, flew out. The copper bell flickered with light, but there was nothing unusual about the aura of the Golden Eagle King that existed in it. He frowned. The advanced mid-grade spiritual weapon soul-capturing bell can already detect targets within 100 miles. There is no response now. It is obvious that the Golden Eagle King is not within 100 miles. I don't believe I can't find you. The destiny talisman in Danshan that increased to the size of 7 feet flickered. With the soul aura of the Golden Eagle King, it is much more accurate to use the 8 trigrams of the Book of Changes to deduce its whereabouts. West Kunlun, Angel Peak, Zoroastrian Cult. 10 words emerged in Su Junming's heart. Angel Peak, Zoroastrianism. So it's here. As soon as the magic power was activated, a red fire shot into the sky and disappeared into the western sky like lightning. In the heart of a huge mountain, 4 piles of giant flames about 3 feet high illuminated the entire mountainside. In the middle of the 4 flames is a giant altar that is nearly 10 feet high and covers an area of more than 9 acres. In the center of the altar, a statue of a god with 4 heads and 8 arms, 3 feet high, and its entire body carved from unknown black stones stands majestically. The 4 heads of the statue represent joy, anger, sorrow, and joy respectively, and the 8 arms hold a blue flame. A giant snake was wrapped around his body, and under his feet was a monster with the head of a bird, the body of a turtle, and the tail of a tiger. The sculpture of the statue is extraordinary, and its eyebrows and eyes look like living creatures. Under this idol, there are 3 lotus pedestals. There is a man in black robe sitting cross-legged on each lotus seat. The man in black robe in the middle holds in his left hand a black wooden staff about 2 meters long, with a crystal ball the size of an adult's fist on the top of the staff. The crimson light shines in the crystal ball, as if countless fires have been condensed. The man in black robe on the right is tall, with a scimitar hanging on his waist, and a black snake coiled around his left arm. The black snake swallowed its core and stared at the man in black robe on the left with its cold eyes. This man was tall and thin, with no body, but the aura on his body was extremely obscure, which was obviously unusual. Suddenly, the tall, thin man in black robes breathed a little faster, and his eyes became distracted. The slightest change instantly attracted the attention of the other 2 people. "Elder Golden Eagle, what's wrong with you?" a hoarse and old voice sounded. The tall and thin man in black robe slowly shook his head. "Fine." He just felt a little uneasy for no reason, as if a disaster was imminent. "Haha, High Priest, Elder Golden Eagle has been practicing too hard recently and has become a little obsessed." The man in black robe with the black snake wrapped around his arm sneered. The tall, thin man in black robe had a cold look. "Hassan, if you want to cause trouble, just come here and stop being so weird." "Okay, I'm afraid you won't make it." Hassan's cold voice sounded, and the black snake on his arm hissed. The snake's eyes were full of cruelty as it stared at the thin middle-aged man. The elder Golden Eagle waved his hand, and a long cyan flag appeared in his hand, full of momentum. Boom! The high priest's staff struck the ground, and a sound like a drum sounded. "Do you think I don't exist?" Accompanied by the angry voice, a tyrannical momentum rose from the high priest to the sky. "Today is the birthday of the great god Ahura. No one can destroy the god's sacrifice. You two, please stay calm." Hassan and Elder Golden Eagle looked at each other, snorted coldly, and sat down again. Seeing that they had settled down, the high priest said no more. "Let's start." Kneeling in front of the 3-person lotus seat, the priest in red nodded and rang the golden bell in his hand. As the clear and melodious bells rang throughout the mountain, hundreds of gray-robed priests drove countless ragged people out. These people were old and young, with numb expressions and dull eyes, and they mechanically followed the team forward. After reaching the edge of the altar, fall into the stone pit surrounding the altar. The stone pit was 5 feet wide and 3 feet deep, and it was filled with black snakes. Seeing someone falling down, the black snake hissed in its mouth, its cold snake eyes revealed bloodlust, biting and devouring flesh and blood crazily, but after a moment, only a skeleton was left and sank to the bottom of the pit. There was a steady flow of people, the roar of snakes was like a boiling cauldron, and the rich smell of blood filled the entire cave. This cruel scene shocked everyone's hearts. Many gray-clothed believers turned their faces away unbearably. However, the 3 people on the altar and the dozens of red-clad believers seemed to be familiar and looked indifferent. After more and more people were devoured, the statue on the altar gradually began to move, and a layer of crimson radiance emerged. The high priest's face also showed a look of morbid enjoyment. Sudden. Countless transparent balls of light that were the size of olives and shaped like grains of rice flew in, shining with 9 colors. This ball of light flashed past the gray-clothed cultists, and it was visible to the naked eye that their souls were taken away. The yellow rice flew into the snake pit, but in an instant, all the snake souls disappeared. "Who is so bold as to disturb my Zoroastrian sacrifice?" the high priest roared angrily, waved his wooden staff, and an astonishing burst of flames shot into the sky. A flash of red light flashed, and all the fireworks disappeared. The yellow rice flew up and flew straight towards the red-clothed believers. These innate stage red-clothed believers are naturally not comparable to those gray-clothed believers who only have foundation-building cultivation. With an angry shout, they all took out their magic weapons. Fire, frost, sand, and swords all swarmed forward. All attacks falling on the yellow rice seemed to have no effect, as if the illusory grains of rice passed directly through their bodies, taking away their souls and mana without any hindrance. Damn it! The high priest roared angrily, pointed the wooden stick in his hand, and the red bead on the tip of the stick instantly became dozens of feet, and it was as heavy as a mountain and hit the yellow rice directly. The Dharma realm of the universe. The yellow rice grains hit the red bead one after another. In an instant, a transparent boundary wall isolated the red bead from the outside world. A swish sound. The yellow rice shrank in an instant, and the red beads fell into the hands of a tall young Taoist wearing a green robe, with a gourd hanging on his left waist and a copper bell hanging on his right waist. Impossible. Elder Jindao's expression changed drastically and he blurted out. Su Junming smiled lightly. King Golden Eagle, I didn't expect that you, the mighty demon king of Kunlun Mountain, would be so depressed that you would hide in this cult. You have fallen into Kunlun ruins, how can you still be alive? Absolutely impossible. The Golden Eagle Elder, or rather the Golden Eagle King said in disbelief. No matter who you are, return my flame beads. The high priest stood on the lotus platform, full of momentum, and the powerful magic power belonging to the late stage of Jindan shook the void, suppressing Hassan on the right and the Golden Eagle on the left, and couldn't help but retreat. Stretch out your right hand behind your back and gently move your index finger in a contemptuous manner. You wanna die? The scepter of Mirat. The wooden staff in his hand shone brightly and instantly turned into a giant tree that was 60 to 70 feet tall and as heavy as a mountain. The huge tree crossed the sky and hit Su Junming with an astonishing momentum. Facing the astonishing giant tree, his expression remained unchanged. He raised his right palm, and the tyrannical energy and blood rose into the sky, instantly turning into a giant fist dozens of feet tall. Boom! Sunny day and thunder. Like a giant mountain tree, it flew back like a meteor after being hit by a fist, and was deeply embedded in the mountain. In an instant, the entire cave shook like an earthquake, and huge rocks fell, as if it would collapse at any time. After a long time, the movement slowly calmed down. The Golden Eagle's pupils shrank. After not seeing each other for 5 years, this man's strength has improved a lot. Hassan's snake eyes flashed and he retreated quietly. This uninvited guest is so powerful that even the high priest is no match for him, let alone him. The high priest looked gloomy and stared at the young Taoist standing dozens of feet away in the sky. The opponent's strength was beyond his imagination. Let's go together, otherwise you won't be able to escape God Ahura's wrath. Hassan and Golden Eagle stopped. Knowing the secrets of Zoroastrian cult, they looked at each other with scruples. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 264. Chapter 260 The Breath of Another World. What the high priest said is true. Let's take action together to kill this beast. Elder Golden Eagle said nothing, but a flash of light flashed in his hand, and he took out the long cyan flag again. He, you are still loyal to the religion. After finishing speaking in a cold voice, he stared closely at the young Taoist opposite. Take out your magic weapons and let's go together. The mana was pressed, but the Mithraic scepter showed no response, and he subconsciously looked back. The giant staff that was once inserted into the mountain wall was gone, leaving only a huge hole 10 feet in size. Soon, a small mountain shrouded in clouds flew out of the cave. The hill spun around and turned into a huge mountain in an instant, pressing down on the statue and altar. The high priest's expression changed. No, take action quickly. As he spoke, he opened his mouth and sprayed out, and countless golden waves of flames shot up into the sky. The elder Jindayo urged the Saiyan spiritual flag in his hand, and countless strong winds flew out. The wind borrows the power of the fire, and the fire assists the power of the wind. In the blink of an eye, a sea of fire of hundreds of feet burned through the top of the mountain. Hassan pulled out the scimitar from his waist and slashed with his hand. The 30-foot-long sword was engulfed in fire and flew straight towards the huge mountain. But whether it is fire or sword energy, once it touches the huge mountain, it is like a mud cow sinking into the sea, unable to shake it at all, let alone prevent it from falling. Staring at the giant mountain that was slowly pressing down, the high priest's eyes showed a cold light. Hassan, the religion has trained you for so long, and now God Ahura needs your dedication. Hassan was stunned and said on guard. High priest, what do you mean? The high priest glanced at him with pity, and changed his finger skills. The black snake coiled around him in Hassan Nuwan Palace expanded instantly and swallowed his soul in one mouthful. At the same time, the black snake wrapped around his right arm also transformed into a 40-foot giant black snake and flew towards the giant mountain in the air. The high priest was just about to seal the seal. A spear was like lightning, instantly piercing the black snake's head and flying into the giant mountain. The light flashed and disappeared. Having seen so many methods such as self-destruction, Su Junming naturally had to take more precautions. Whether you're useless or not, it's over. As soon as Jugfeng Mountain was pushed, it fell with a crash. The weight of a cave world instantly crushed the entire altar. In an instant, smoke and dust rose, thunder and ground shook, and the entire cave shook. A tyrannical force spread into my heart. The strange light black power rushed out from the bottom of Jugfeng Mountain like a high-pressure jet. Roar. The deafening roar was like thunder exploding. The vast sound waves shook the mind. Buzz. The heavy Jugfeng Mountain suddenly rose. Gradually, a demon-like giant with 3 heads and 4 arms, a green face, fangs and black scales appeared in front of Su Junming. 3 feet, 5 feet, 8 feet, 12 feet, 15 feet. He didn't stop until he was 18 feet tall. The giant's 4 giant arms hold up Jugfeng Mountain. Giant eyes bigger than a water tank stared at Su Junming. The color of resentment in it is as rich as water. Kill. The giant threw it, and Jugfeng Mountain flew straight towards Su Junming. He stretched out his hand and the light from Jugfeng Mountain flashed and stopped in front of him. The drops rotated and landed on Su Junming's head. If you offend me as a Zoroastrian, I will make you regret it for the rest of your life, the giant roared angrily. Go to hell. With a wave of his giant fist, he flew straight towards Su Junming with huge force like a violent wave. Facing the giant fist, his pupils shrank slightly. Change the finger gestures of both hands. Disciple Su Junming respectfully invites Emperor Guansheng to come to me. I am as urgent as the law. This time his body did not grow bigger, but his aura quickly grew stronger. In an instant, he surpassed the high priest with 3 heads and 4 arms. With a wave of his right hand, a sword light as clear as water appeared, like the Milky Way in the 9 heavens, as if it spanned space. It flashed past the neck of the 18-foot-tall high priest. The latter's expression froze, and his giant fist stopped in mid-air. You. The words are not finished yet. The 3 heads rolled down like huge boulders with a gurgling sound. The huge body pushed down the golden mountain and knocked down the jade pillar. Boom fell to his knees and kicked up smoke and dust all over the ground. The light of the sword flew into Su Junming's palm and turned into an 8-sided Han sword that was about 3 feet long and 1 finger wide, with a green dragon swallowing its mouth and a light green body. Under the hilt of the sword, 2 etched inscriptions shine brightly. Kill the demon. People who do evil are demons, ghosts who do evil are demons, demons who do evil are also demons, and demons who do evil are even more demons. The demon-slaying sword can kill all the evil-doing gods, demons, monsters, immortals, humans, and ghosts in the world. Can you escape by pretending to be dead? Pointing his hand, the demon-slaying sword flew into the air, and a brilliant sword light passed through the air. From the rubble on the ground, a golden light shot up into the sky, as fast as lightning, and fled straight out. He is faster, Jian Guang is faster. Spare your life. One sword to hang the head. Jin Dan was also cut in half. The sword light flew back, bringing back the two halves of the golden elixir and the body of the golden eagle king. After a brief look, I had a dream. Gilug. There was a sound like drinking water. Visible to the naked eye, the corpses on the ground shriveled up. Su Junming frowned, activated his magic power, and the yellow rice flew down like meteors, taking in the remains of the high priest. However, a magic circle completely condensed by blood essence has been formed. In the middle of the magic circle, a black spot appeared. The black spot expanded rapidly, swelling to a size of 1 foot in an instant. Space Channel. Su Junming, who specializes in space Taoism, is familiar with this. At the same time, a vast aura came from the other side of the passage. The smell of another world. Su Junming was overjoyed. Sure enough, there is another world. Suddenly, the space channel trembled, as if something huge was struggling over. His expression changed. Go. The demon-slaying sword flew out and instantly cut off the magic circle on the ground. However, the space channel did not disappear, but became larger and larger. Rich spiritual energy surged in, and instantly the entire cave shone with colorful brilliance. Su Junming has no intention of paying attention to this. A powerful aura that he had never seen before surged through the passage. Silently urging the Hushan magic talisman, and being unable to do anything, he urged the Hushan god to perform the magic and leave. Soon, a giant palm about 3 feet in size, covered with scales and with unknown patterns on the scales, exuding a sense of solidity, stretched out. With a giant palm grab, a suffocating force instantly surrounded Su Junming. Everything around him seemed to freeze. At the same time, a powerful will crossed over from the other side of the passage and condensed into the image of a demon with 3 heads and 4 arms. Eyes shot. Su Junming instantly felt that everything was clear, as if all the secrets had been seen through. So many ways. Should I say that you have amazing understanding, or are you stupid? But since you killed my incarnation, you can become my new incarnation. He spread his fingers and grabbed Su Junming with his big hand. Just as he was about to activate the Hushan magic talisman, he quickly stopped again. A bolt of crimson lightning struck out of thin air. With a boom, the demon with 3 heads and 4 arms was destroyed. The way of heaven in this world. The majestic sound came across the infinite space. What can the heavenly way of 1,000 small worlds do to me? After finishing speaking proudly, he opened his huge black palm and smacked it towards the red lightning. Boom! The thunder exploded, and a drop of hot blood fell down. After breaking away from the black palm, the blood expanded rapidly, and in the blink of an eye it became 3 feet in size. It fell with a bang, and it did not scatter. Instead, it seemed to be solidified red amber, exuding astonishing heat, and smashed to the ground. A big hole. Damn it, the world power of Xiaoqian world can't be that strong. With a cry of surprise and anger, the black palm retracted. A bolt of cyan lightning chased after him. Ah! Along with the screams, amber-like blood flew out, and a black severed finger, like a black mountain, crashed down with a bang. In an instant, the entire valley was filled to the brim. You brat, Lord Huosang, remember you. A fiery red mark flew towards Su Junming like lightning. Before it could be imprinted on Su Junming, it was shattered by the cyan lightning that broke through the air. Looking in awe at the cyan lightning chasing into the space channel, the power of thunder contained in it made Su Junming, who was proficient in thunder, also feel afraid. When the space channel disappeared, the cyan lightning also disappeared. Only the extremely rich spiritual energy that filled the cave was left, the collapsed divine power of thunder, and the astonishing energy and blood that were as hot as fire. But the most shocking thing is the severed finger, which is nearly 100 feet long. One finger is so huge, the Huosang Lord with 3 heads and 4 arms might not be as big as 1,000 feet. Feeling the extremely rich blood and residual tyrannical power in the severed finger, this guy should be considered an immortal. While sighing, looking at the severed finger, deep joy arose in my heart. Not only for the rich loot, but also because the way forward is not cut off. His guess was correct. There was another more powerful world of cultivation in this universe. As long as his space method is strong enough, he can cross space and go to other worlds to continue practicing. Become an immortal. Su Junming's heart was full of expectations. Boom boom. There was lightning and thunder in the sky, and the mighty thunder clouds stretched hundreds of miles across. The tribulation thunders were like hurricanes coming from the sky and the earth, constantly striking down. There are 365 grains of yellow rice in the air, each grain is 9 colors in color, and each grain is the size of a water tank. Bath in the thunder and absorb the essence of heaven and earth. Chi La, lightning densely formed a network, and 365 thunder eyes condensed out of mid-air. In an instant, thunder pillars in the sky were like rain, and dazzling blue-white brilliance illuminated the heaven and earth. The powerful lightning suppressed the sunlight. At this moment, the world was silent. Although it was only a moment, it seemed like a long time had passed. Wait until the thunder disappears and the black clouds dissipate. In the cloudless sky, there were only 365 3-foot-sized yellow rice left, like 365 9-color stars embedded in the sky. Su Junming's heart moved. In a dream, yellow beams instantly turned into a 9-color arch bridge 100 feet long and 10 feet wide. Soon, it turned into a giant yellow rice that was hundreds of feet tall and contained thousands of miles of space. Finally, it turned into a turbid yellow river that spanned 100 feet and was 10 feet wide, with a strong aura of death. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 265. Chapter 261, Recruiting Disciples. There are hundreds of wronged souls floating in the river, the most powerful of which is a demon with 3 heads and 4 arms. These innocent souls stood in the river, roaring silently, adding countless ominous power to the Huangquan River. Su Junming stretched out his hand. The turbid yellow lightning from the river flew towards him and turned into 365 yellow rice grains in his hands. Ever since he devoured the demon souls of countless totem wild beasts in the wilderness, Yimen Huangliang has reached the threshold of overcoming the tribulation. In addition, the high priest of the Zoroastrian cult, the golden elixir of the black snake and the golden eagle king, as well as the wool left in the severed finger of the 3-headed and 4-armed Huosang Maharaja have further enriched Yimen Huangliang's heritage. Once the thunder tribulation passed, 4 spiritual taboos were born. Especially the Lord Huosang is really a great supplement. Without him, Yimen Huangliang would only be able to add 2 spiritual taboos at best, rather than directly becoming a middle-grade spiritual weapon. Yimen Huangliang, the stumbling block, has finally advanced to become a spiritual weapon. Ren Wuji admired. Congratulations, Master, for practicing the ultimate treasure. Turning around, he saw Qin Zhong, who was 9 feet tall, strong and determined, and nodded slightly. You come with me. Step forward to the middle of Wuzang Peak Cave sky. He reached out and pointed, and an 8 immortals table made of loess was condensed with 2 chairs. In an instant, Another tablet made of loess appeared on the table, 3 feet high and 1 foot wide, with 4 characters etched on it. Emperor, Queen, and Queen. After this tablet, there are 3 other tablets, namely Li Changdao, Simu Taoist Master and Linju, 1 size smaller. Su Junming turned around with a serious expression and looked directly at the majestic Qin Zhong. I ask you one last time, do you still insist on worshipping me as your teacher? Disciple will never regret it even after 9 deaths. Qin Zhong said seriously. Kneel down. Qin Zhong pushed the golden mountain over the jade pillar and knelt down in front of Su Junming. After looking at him, Su Junming rubbed the soil to create incense and said respectfully. Master and mentor come again. Disciple Su Junming is recruiting disciples today, and heaven and earth will learn from this. A watermelon-sized loess stove grew out of the table. Su Junming inserted the incense into it. Then he turned around and sat down on the chair next to him. Qin Zhong, today I will accept you as my disciple and teach you my Taoism. I hope you can uphold the right path, slay demons, and protect the common people. Qin Zhong looked excited. Disciples must obey their master's orders, hoe the strong and support the weak, and uphold justice. Su Junming nodded and continued. I have 3 precepts under my section. First, you are not allowed to rape, plunder, or bully the old and the weak. Second, criticize the same sect and deceive the master and destroy the ancestors. Third, we must not kill innocent people indiscriminately. Can you write it all down? Disciple, keep this in mind and never dare to forget it. Su Junming nodded. Offer incense to the ancestor. Qin Zhong picked up the incense stick on the table next to him, and Su Junming lit it for him with a snap of his fingers. 3 bows were inserted into the incense burner. Kowtow. Qin Zongsan knelt down and kowtowed 9 times. Renwuji stretched out his hand and a cup of tea flew from the wooden house and fell into Qin Zhong's hands. Invite master to tea. After Su Junming nodded, he took it and drank it. From today on, you will be the founding disciple of my Su Junming section. I hope you will remember the sect's rules, practice hard, and not fall short of your ambition to become a Taoist. Yes, disciple, keep this in mind. A ray of spiritual light popped up from Su Junming and submerged into Qin Zhong's sea of consciousness. This is the Panhuang Sutra, which is the #1 magical skill for body training under my section. I hope you will practice it well in the future. Panhuang Zhenjing was compiled by Su Junming by combining the body refining techniques of Mishan Nanzong Shende Zhenju, the 9 turns of Tiangang, the body refining techniques of the wilderness, and the countless classics he had read in the past 15 years. The perfect body training method. The purpose of this classic is to imitate Pangu and prove the Tao with force. Due to his limited vision, only the first 3 levels have been completed. However, Su Junming believes that with the assistance of the bronze mirror, as his Taoist cultivation continues to improve, this skill will become more and more sophisticated. As long as he does not die, the Panhuang Sutra will one day become a great way to heaven. Thank you, Master, for the gift. Su Junming patted the gourd on his waist. A black spear about 2 feet long and a pair of leather armor appeared in the palm. This war spear is a top-grade spiritual weapon of the 7th level spiritual ban. This set of desolate armor is a middle-level spiritual weapon of the 6th level spiritual ban. They were all refined by me. Today I will give it to you for self-defense. In the future, you only need to by constantly tempering them with spiritual energy, these 2 spiritual weapons will become even more powerful. Master, this. He waved his hand to interrupt him. You were able to advance to the earthly evil realm within 10 years. I can see how difficult the process was. These 2 spiritual weapons are the rewards given to you by your master. But if you become slack in the future, I will recover these 2 spiritual weapons. Master, don't worry. This disciple will practice hard and never dare to slack off. If he violates the rules, he will die under the thunder of calamity, Qin Zhong said solemnly. Su Junming nodded slowly. With a slap on the gourd on his waist, a porcelain vase flew towards Qin Zhong. There are 20 essence and blood pills in this. After you take it, you will advance to the second level of the earthly evil realm. You don't have to refuse. If you practice hard in the future, it will be the greatest reward for me. Qin Zhong opened his mouth, looking excited. The words of rejection turned into deep gratitude on his lips. Master, don't worry, I will definitely practice hard. I hope you can stick to this hard. Okay, let's go back. I'll give you 3 months to refine the essence and blood pill. Remember, after you advance to the second level of the earthly evil realm, review the 9 transformations of Panhuang in the Panhuang manual, and then come to me again. Yes, disciple, resign. Looking at Qin Zhong's leaving figure, Renwuji said. Aren't you going to let him worship in mission? Su Junming shook his head. His understanding is not high, and he is practicing the Panhuang Sutra that I have understood myself, not the 7 true traditions of mission. There is not much benefit in letting him worship in mission. As for the protection of the sect, no one can do it as long as I am here. Bullying. Okay, you have the final say. How are you going to deal with Lord Huosang's severed finger? I refine the essence of flesh and blood and the essence of bones myself. The remaining scales. After thinking about it, Su Junming shook his head. Save it up first. With my current level of weapon refining, I still can't make a magic weapon. After finishing his words, he stretched out his hand and the universal light mirror fell into Renwuji's hand. It will be for you to use from now on. Are you willing? There is nothing to be reluctant to part with. After Yimen Huangliang advanced the spiritual weapon, his spatial ability has become comparable to that of the universal light mirror, or even stronger. I don't want to waste my energy on 2 spiritual weapons. Hee, I just like how aware you are. Renwuji whirled in the mirror of cosmic light, with infinite joy on his face. Glanced at him. You'd better hurry up and refine the pure yang treasure materials I gave you. The great yin and yang grinding is your foundation. Don't sacrifice the good for the sake of the universal light mirror. Don't worry, in less than 10 years, I will be able to hone yin and yang into the best spiritual weapon. As long as you have confidence. Back at Jukfeng Mountain, Su Junming placed 4 things in his quiet room. A 2-meter-long thick wooden staff, a fire bead the size of an adult's fist, a shining silver scimitar, a wind flag with flashing spiritual patterns and 2 jade slips. The wooden staff and fire beads were obtained from the high priest of the Zoroastrian cult. It was originally a high-grade spiritual weapon with 9 spiritual taboos. After separation, although the power has decreased, both the wooden staff and the fire beads are top-grade spiritual materials from Dongxian. The scimitar is a medium-grade spiritual weapon among the 4 forbidden spirits. It was originally the natal spiritual weapon of Hassan, the elder of the Zoroastrian cult. However, after he was swallowed by a black snake, and the black snake was killed by Su Junming, this thing fell into his hands. The wind flag was obtained from the Golden Eagle King, but the refining time of this wind flag was obviously too short. Although it was a spiritual weapon, it only had 1 spiritual taboo. The 2 jade slips respectively record the Zoroastrian secret book Black Fire mysterious technique practiced by Hassan, and the Fenjiun true technique practiced by the Golden Eagle King. In addition to these, there are some Dongxian low-grade 1000 refined iron and red copper, as well as a few Dongsuan level snow lotus, which are still precious. Looking at these spiritual weapons, Su Junming's heart moved. The red fire divine light flew out from the back of his head, and the fire beads were collected in 1 swipe. He doesn't need so many spiritual weapons. Instead of keeping them in his hands, he might as well practice them together with the same attributes. Coupled with this Dongxian high-grade flame bead, his red fire divine light can at least be upgraded to a high-grade spiritual weapon. As for the wooden stick, after thinking for a moment, Su Junming took out his green bamboo stick. Although this bamboo stick is just a top-quality spiritual weapon now, he loves bamboo more than this black wooden stick. So I plan to use the aura of armor wood in this black wood to practice the green bamboo staff. The scimitar has a strong killing aura, which is perfect for practicing the demon-slaying sword. Feng Banner was used to practice the wind and thunder wings. 3 months passed quickly. With the help of 24 essence and blood pills, Qin Zhong successfully opened 10 acupoints and advanced to the second level of the earthly evil realm. Sitting cross-legged 3 feet away from Su Junming. Have you reviewed Pan Huang's 9 transformations? This disciple has reviewed it many times and will never miss anything. Qin Zhong affirmed. He knew that his qualifications were not good, so he took the words diligence can make up for weakness to the extreme. Su Junming nodded and opened his palms. A crystal ball the size of an adult's fist was filled with blood. In the pure blood, a miniature earth dragon and dragon soul stand in it. This is an earth dragon soul and its essence and blood that I got by chance. You swallow it and refine it to achieve the first of Pan Huang's 9 transformations. If they rely solely on the physical body, although the body-refining warriors are powerful in fighting skills, their methods are too simple and can easily be targeted. Therefore, Pan Huang's 9 transformations, transforming into the body of a divine beast, and using the divine beast's innate magical powers have become the only way for body-refining monks to protect themselves and defeat enemies. Take it, I will protect you. Thank you, Master, for the generous gift. With gratitude in his heart, Qin Zhong did not refuse again this time. Holding the crystal ball with both hands, according to the records of Pan Huang's 9 changes, transfer the energy and blood, and practice the earth dragon soul and essence blood in it. Streams of soul essence and qi and blood essence followed the logong points of his palms and flowed into the Dantian qi sea. Waves of dragon roars sounded from Qin Zhong's body. The whole body is full of momentum, and the red energy penetrates directly through the canopy. 9 hours later, the crystal ball was empty. Qin Zhong is full of energy and has made great progress in his cultivation. Earth dragon essence and blood also contain rich spiritual energy. Opening his eyes, 2 long beams of light overflowed, and Qin Zhong looked excited. Master, I succeeded. Su Junming nodded. When giving the dragon soul to Qin Zhong, he had already wiped out the evil spirit within it, making it much easier to practice. Stand up. Let's go out and try. Qin Zhong stood up eagerly and walked to the center of the Wuzang Peak Cave. The magic power in Dantian is transferred, the physical body grows, countless reverse scales grow from the body surface, the hands and feet become thicker, the fangs are exposed, and the mouth becomes longer. Not long after, a huge earth dragon about 20 feet long appeared in front of him. After he refined the blood of this earth dragon, Qin Zhong's transformed body became more like a dragon than the earth dragon he killed in the wilderness. The front paws are longer, dragon horns grow on the head, and 2 whiskers grow from the corners of the lips. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 266. Chapter 262 Pan Huang 9 Changes. Roar. The huge roar shook Wuzang Peak, and the powerful sound waves were like a hurricane passing through, sending sand and rocks flying instantly. Ren Wuji came across the sky. Hey, this Pan Huang 9 transformation earth dragon is quite powerful. If it wasn't strong, I wouldn't keep it, Su Junming said. Why don't you use it yourself? I have enough means, I can't use it. The 12 Taoist methods are enough for him, and the addition of Pan Huang 9 transformations is just the icing on the cake. Where's Lipanaz? It won't be too late to think about it after the Fui soul hatches successfully. Ren Wuji nodded. The stronger your cultivation, the better the beast souls you get. Su Junming does have this consideration. At this moment, the surrounding temperature suddenly increased sharply. A golden red flame began to condense in the huge mouth of Qin Zhong's transformed earth dragon. Open your mouth and squirt. In an instant, a 5-foot-thick pillar of fire rolled forward like a torrent with astonishing impact. Boom! The rocks on the ground of Wuzang Peak cracked and quickly turned into hot magma under the scorching heat. It looks like he's still a fire dragon, Renwuji said. Su Junming nodded slightly. In that special place in the wilderness, except for the physical body, as well as a few avenues such as space, pure yang, and destiny, almost all Taoisms are sealed. But when you come to the outside world, the situation will naturally be different. The Earth Dragon's light flashed and transformed into Qin Zhong's 9-foot body, with an excited expression. Master, I succeeded. Su Junming nodded. Good. With a slap on the gourd on his waist, a black talisman and a green gourd flew out. After thinking for a while, he took out a golden feather fan from the gourd. 3 things flew in front of Qin Zhong. This talisman is the Hushan magic talisman that I practiced with the Hushan way to protect you. The green gourd contains a 6-foot sized and an 18-foot sized space for you to store your things. Use. The last golden feather fan is a mid-grade spiritual weapon from the 5 spiritual taboos that I personally practiced. It contains the Tao of Sunfan. It can be combined with your flame Taoism to double its power and protect your Tao. The ability of the Hushan talisman is similar to that of the Universal Light Mirror, but not as strong as the Universal Light Mirror. However, you can also move it 100 feet and move the Tao method to temporarily create a small space for hiding. As for the green gourd, after the Hushan talisman advances to the red stage, it is not necessary for him to open up a space. It must be a treasure with all 5 elements. However, limited to the realm, it can only open up a space of 100 feet, no matter how big it is. As for the golden feather fan, he used the golden eagle king feather to practice it. Although the golden eagle king is very good at grabbing heirlooms, his demon body is indeed a great demon with the 7th level of the golden core, and his feathers are as strong as steel. With a body of several tens of feet and more than 3,000 feathers, they were condensed into a feather fan the size of a foot in front of you. The materials were as good as the top-grade Dongxian. If it weren't for Su Junming's lack of deep understanding of the way of wind, this golden feather fan would have more than 5 spiritual taboos. Master, I have been generously gifted in front of you. I dare not accept these 3 treasures shamelessly. Just take it if it's given to you. As my founding disciple, if you are beaten outside in the future, it will be a disgrace to me. Qin Zhong, take it. Your master is proficient in refining weapons. Spiritual weapons are precious to others, but to him, they can be made easily. Even though he has given you a lot now, he still has some in his gourd. There are more than a dozen pieces, Renwuji laughed. After glaring at him, Su Junming said, take it. Looking at his master and uncle, in Qin Zhong's eyes, Renwuji has always been his uncle. Raise your hands above your head to receive the 3 objects. Thank you, master, for the generous gift. By the way, I have something else for you. With a thought in his heart, Zhufeng Mountain flew out from Danshan. In an instant, a golden dot flew out and turned into a 3-foot-long golden lion with hair as bright as fire. When Jin Shi saw Su Junming, he immediately put his big head over with a flattering look on his face. He patted his thick-maned lion head and pointed at Qin Zhong. This is my eldest disciple Qin Zhong, you should follow him from now on. The golden lion glanced at Qin Zhong and roared demonstratively. Go fight it. Qin Zhong nodded and walked toward the open space with the golden lion. Whether they are monsters or spiritual beasts, they always only submit to the strong. With Qin Zhong's current cultivation level at the 2nd level of the earthly evil realm, he can naturally capture the golden lion at the peak of the innate realm. Master. He glanced at the golden lion following him with a bruised nose and swollen face. Su Junming nodded and said, you have already broken through the earthly evil realm. Staying here any longer will not be beneficial to your growth. So, today you leave Wuzangfeng Cave Heaven and go out to practice. Disciple wants to stay and serve Master Qin Zhong said quickly. I'm not a grown-up, so I don't need your service. And if you don't experience hardships, no matter how strong your cultivation is, you're just a flower in the greenhouse and can't become anything. I don't want my founding disciple to be a mediocre person. Go. Su Junming waved his sleeves, and a strong force of space enveloped Qin Zhong and Jin Shi, sending them out of the Wuzang Peak cave in an instant. Qin Zhong stood outside, knelt down and kowtowed before turning and leaving. Looking at Su Junming standing with his hands behind his back. How does it feel to be a master? Ren Wuji said. Isn't my apprentice yours? Just feel it for yourself. He, there are still some differences after all. By the way, I forgot to tell you. You stayed in Lilang Guanyuzhen Temple, and the female puppet named Vivian was taken back by me. Su Junming left Kunlun, and these puppets were controlled by Ren Wuji. Although the two have a similar mind, they don't know everything about each other. Why? Li Yui Hongluan Seeing Dong married a casual cultivator named Zhou Tong 2 years ago. Where's peace? I am studying in a senior high school in the provincial capital of Henan province, and my grades are good. I should be able to get into a better university in the future. Su Junming nodded. Originally, he wanted to introduce Li Yui to mission, but now it seems that there is no need. In that case, take it back. After a moment of silence, he slapped the gourd and a green jade talisman flew into his palm. The talisman's light was dim, nothing unusual. After a moment of induction, he took it back. Hard way. I don't know if something went wrong with Chen Lin. Why hasn't he been reincarnated for so long? Or maybe he has already been reincarnated, but he has not been reincarnated into this world. Ren Wujidao knew his thoughts. Can't you do the math? Just use the 8 trigrams of the Book of Changes to calculate. Do you think I can't think of it? I have calculated it many times before. But every time I calculated it, there was no result. Then don't worry about it for now. This kind of thing will come naturally when it should come. There's no point in thinking about it. By the way, I forgot to tell you that 3 puppets have been broken in the past 5 years. Su Junming was not surprised by this. Puppet driving away corpses, plus killing demons and subduing demons, did not always lead to peace of mind. It is normal to lose a few in the middle. Suddenly, a wave of fluctuation came into my heart. The two looked at each other. Su Junming stretched out his hand and pointed, and a white feathered crane the size of a wash basin flew from above the cave sky, came to the front and back, and turned into a piece of talisman paper. After reading it quickly, Su Junming's face showed a burst of joy. Uncle Ju has successfully advanced to the golden elixir after overcoming the tribulation. It's not just the golden elixir. This is a double happiness for Uncle Ju. The old virgin has finally been trapped in a dragon and ascended to heaven, Ren Wuji said with a smile. Su Junming nodded. The words in Fihi's biography are full of joy. It seems that my concubine and Uncle Ninth finally got married. I just don't know if the process will be as comedic as in the new Mr. Zombie. If you had the guts, wouldn't you know if you asked, Ren Wuji said. Put the talisman paper into the gourd. You want to go there yourself. How could I not go to such an important thing, Su Junming said. How do you explain the matter of guarding the fire eye? Think about it for a moment. Just say that I have trained a golden elixir level puppet. As long as it is not too far away, nothing will go wrong. Ren Wuji nodded in agreement. When are you ready to leave? Leave now. Now. Uncle Ju's wedding is in 3 days. Why are you running there so early? Look up to the north. I want to get rid of the ghost world of the Golden Man first. By the way, I can use it to practice my Yimeng Huang Liang. Are you interfering with the 1003 Great Tribulations? Are you going to be trapped in the tribulation and unable to extricate yourself? Ren Wuji warned. I'm already in trouble. and if anything happens, I'll still have you." As soon as he finished speaking, a ray of red light shot up into the sky, exited the Wuzang Peak cave, and flew towards the capital like lightning. With his current cultivation level and the speed of the red fire divine light, in less than 2 hours, we arrived at our destination. The red light fell, and using the earth escape technique, he quickly crossed 100 feet and arrived outside the Yinlai. With his current state of space, even without using a spiritual weapon, he can open a space passage with his hand. But now he was originally looking for trouble, so naturally he wouldn't be as sneaky as last time. "Open it for me." The clear sword light rose, like a hot knife cutting butter, and 100-foot wide hole opened in the underworld in an instant. Su Junming flew in, looking at the vast underworld. With a wave of his hand, 365 grains of yellow rice flew out. The Dharma realm of the universe. A 9-color yellow rice, 100 feet in size, appeared in mid-air. Buzz. A trembling sound. A strong suction force came from inside the yellow rice. The yin qi inside the Yinlai world is like giant dragons, whistling and being absorbed by the giant yellow rice. The suction force became stronger and stronger, and a sunken wind column hit the ground with a bang. The huge tornado shattered the trees and houses on the ground, and also swallowed up the souls here. Such a huge movement naturally attracted the intervention of the ghosts of the Ixenjaluo family. Who is so bold as to dare to cause trouble in our golden ghost realm? A middle-aged emperor wearing a dragon robe and an emperor's crown flew over. Noisy. Su Junming stretched out his hand and raised his demon-slaying sword into the sky. The sharp sword energy was like lightning, instantly cutting the person in half. With a wave of his sleeve, the remaining soul was swallowed by the yellow rice. At this time, a powerful sword energy came across the air. It's like a long river flowing backwards into the sky, mighty and mighty. He smiled coldly. "I've been waiting for you for a long time." Disciple Su Junming respectfully invites Emperor Guansheng to come to me. "I am as urgent as the law." The power of heaven and earth swarmed in, and a tyrannical aura emerged from Su Junming's body. The demon-slaying sword trembled, and the sword energy, as clear as water, swooped away like a huge silver lightning. Boom! The sword energy and sword light collided with each other, annihilating the surrounding yin energy, and the disintegrated energy swept hundreds of feet around like an explosion. The sword light only persisted for a moment before being crushed by the sword energy. The mighty sword energy, with a bang, smashed the huge city in the middle to pieces. Countless yin energy collapsed and was then swallowed by the giant yellow rice. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 267. Chapter 263 Shocking the World. The embarrassed Nurichi looked at the young man in Taoist attire standing in mid-air in confusion. "Who are you? Why do you want to be in trouble with me in the Dajin ghost realm?" Su Junming, who didn't want to talk nonsense with him, pointed his demon-slaying sword, and the mighty sword light was like the Milky Way in the 9 heavens, hovering over the underworld. At this moment, millions of ghosts in the underworld all saw this mighty sword river that was 200 feet long. Su Junming activated the Shen De Zhenju to the maximum, and his strength was comparable to the second transformation of Nascent Soul Realm. 12 transformations of the Golden Core Realm, 12 changes of the Nascent Soul Realm, 1 transformation to another heaven. Su Junming stretched out his hand. Go. The floating Jianhe River was like a flood that burst its banks, overwhelmingly crushing towards Nurichi. The latter's expression changed greatly and he wanted to escape, but the area covered by Jianhe was too large and the speed was too fast. It was impossible to run away directly. With a stern look on his face, he mobilized all the strength in yin, turned it into mana, and slashed it out with the long knife. The tyrannical sword energy soared into the sky. After a few collisions with the swooping sword light, it was like a water splash that was quickly wiped out. The sword energy is vertical and horizontal, covering the sky and the earth. The sound of tearing cloth spread throughout the underworld. The remaining ghosts felt that the earth was cracking. The entire underworld was almost cut in half by the sword energy. Want to run? Can you run away? Su Junming's consciousness covered thousands of feet. After noticing the movement around him, several streams of light in his body disappeared into the distance like lightning. Change the fingertips in your hands. Driven by his tyrannical magic power, Huang Liangmai's swallowing power became stronger and stronger, and countless yin qi was swallowed by it. Visible to the naked eye, the ghost world, which is 1,000 miles in size, begins to shrink rapidly. Nurisi, Huang Taiji, Kangzi, and Qianlong, these 4 golden elixirs from the Izanjuro family, are running away like crazy. Boom! Earth-shattering drum beats sounded, and powerful thunder and lightning came across the sky. Nurichi looked solemn. The long knife from the waist was slashed out. The sword energy and the thunder light collided together. Fire trees, silver flowers, and thunder exploded. Dong dong! The drums beat again. Nurichi's face changed drastically. Escape separately, quickly. The 4 people scattered in 4 directions and fled. Jingle bell. The clear and distant bell rang, and the 4 people's expressions instantly became dull. 4 black holes opened, and 4 thick chains flew out. Kangzi, Qianlong, and Huang Taiji were captured with almost no resistance. Nurisi was the quickest to recover from the ringing of the soul-stirring bell, slashed with his long sword, split the chains, turned around and ran away. 2 thunderbolts came across the sky and formed a thunder net, blocking him in the middle. Without the protection of the underworld, he is just a ghost cultivator with the 6th level of the golden core. Naturally, his strength is far inferior to that of Su Junming, who now has the combat power of the 2 transformations of nascent soul with the help of the divine fighting art. Ah! The masculine energy of thunder is the nemesis of ghosts. When he got a little closer, he screamed. Jingle bell. The distant bell rang, Nurichi was stunned, and the 3-way drum rang. The majestic thunder dragon bit Nurichi in one bite, rushed into the black hole next to it and disappeared. Such shocking movement in the bustling place of the capital naturally attracted the attention of almost all the golden elixir monks around. The first person to fly over was an old Taoist priest wearing a purple Taoist robe and holding a floating dust in his hand. He who comes is stopped. Following the shout, a huge burst of energy and blood blocked the path of Zhending Daijun. Chiang Chiang. The sound of iron boots sounded, and a 9-foot-tall warrior wearing a black helmet and black armor, holding a fangtian painted halberd with energy and blood like smoke, came towards him. Zhending Daijun looked at the other party with a solemn expression. Being able to cultivate the physical body to such a state is almost rare in the entire cultivation world. Who are you? Why are you blocking my way? My name is Lupan. I am stopping you today just to eliminate the cancer underground in the capital. I have no ill intentions. I hope fellow Taoists will not interfere. You want to destroy the Jinren ghost world. There was a hint of disbelief in Zhending Daijun's tone. Exactly. Unless the Jinren ghost realm is cultivated as a nascent soul or more than a dozen Jindans work together, no one can break through it. Can you really destroy it? Whether we can do it or not is our business, we don't need to worry about it. Zhending Daijun's eyes flickered. Pandeo also has a grudge against that golden man. If it comes in handy, Pandeo would also like to help. We understand Taoist friends' intentions. But since we have taken action to eradicate this ghost world, we are naturally completely sure. At this moment, someone flew over again. It was Gong Yun whom Su Junming met last time. Fellow Taoist, stop. Seeing Lord Zhending Dao and the astonishing Lupan, Gong Yun stopped instantly. His strength was only at level 1 of Jindan, but he did not dare to stab Lupan at level 6 of Earthly Evil Realm, so he honestly stopped. Boom! A thunderous sound came from the west. The attention of Zhending Daojun and Gong Yun was instantly attracted. A verdant bamboo staff with 12 sections, carrying a strong aura of armored wood, was like a giant pillar in the sky, falling heavily towards a magic sword. High-grade spiritual weapon. Feeling the power on the bamboo stick, Zhending Daojun was shocked. West at this time. Vivian, who was wearing a green Taoist robe, with her sleeves flying, used her magic power to activate the sapphire staff and knocked the magic sword away hard. Opposite him, a middle-aged Taoist priest wearing a yellow Taoist robe, with a long beard and a three-dimensional chin, looked solemn. This female crown's cultivation level is only the 3rd level of Jindan, but a high-grade spiritual weapon is indeed a big trouble. Fellow Taoist really want to be an enemy of my Chunyang temple. Pandeo has long said that we have no intention of becoming an enemy of Chunyang temple, but we just don't want evil people to hinder us from eradicating the Jinran and Ghost realm. If fellow Taoists stop here, Pandeo will not be in trouble. The middle-aged Taoist priest's eyes flickered. The Jinran Ghost realm was a place that the Jindan sect had long targeted for disaster, and it was also a place to earn merit. How could outsiders pick the peaches? Everyone who is a righteous person in the world of spiritual practice has the responsibility to kill demons and subjugate them. The poor Taoist must also do his part. Now you are pushing back and preventing the poor Tao from coming forward. I don't think it is out of good intentions, but for the sake of the golden man in the ghost world. Look good. One last question, do you want to get out of the way? Vivian's expression turned cold, and she stretched out her hand, and the sapphire staff struck hard with the mighty aura of green wood. If you don't listen to the advice, then let's fight again. I'm afraid you won't succeed, Pure Yang sword. The sword energy soars into the sky and cuts straight towards the sapphire staff. His Pure Yang sword is only a low-grade spiritual weapon, but his cultivation has reached the 6th level of the golden core, and the combination of the two is no less than a sapphire staff. The fight between the two caused sparks to fly, and someone wanted to take the opportunity to rush over. Vivian frowned, stretched out her hand and pointed. A red copper gun, with the power as heavy as a mountain, shot straight towards a yellow light on the left. Amidba, Skunda palm. A 10-foot-long Buddha's light giant palm blocked the body. In the rich Buddha light, the figure of a skinny old monk was revealed. Why does the female donor have to be so domineering? Vivian looked cold. I am here today, no one can go there. You can block it here, but you can't block it from all directions. As soon as the middle-aged Taoist finished speaking, he saw a red pillar of fire rising into the sky from the south. The rolling flames, like a storm, swept forward and blocked a cyan light. In the northern sky, surrounded by clouds and mist, you can vaguely see 9 mountain tops. The majestic giant mountain, 120 feet high, covers the sky. At the same time, a big umbrella covering the sky slowly rose from the middle. The big umbrella flashed with aura, and instantly countless threads flew in all directions. Huge mountains, green bamboo staffs, huge flame pillars, and Lupan complement each other. A huge formation covering the entire capital appeared in front of everyone. Feel the astonishing momentum after the formation rotates. The face of the middle-aged Taoist from Chunyang Temple changed drastically. He quickly sheathed his sword and retreated. The aura exuded by this formation is really too strong. Not to mention him, even if the entire Chunyang Temple came together, there was no way to shake it. Lord Zhending Dao also looked shocked. 2 high-grade spiritual weapons, 1 top-grade spiritual weapon. And this martial artist who is at least the 6th level of Earth Evil. When did such a powerful force appear in the world of cultivation? The dozen or so golden elixirs around him were also as confused as him. But seeing this huge formation, no one dared to stroke the tiger's beard anymore. But as the news spread, more and more Jindan monks gathered. Among them, there is also the late stage of Jindan. However, Su Junming's 4-image demon-slaying array was based on 2 high-grade spiritual weapons, one from Jufeng Mountain that reached the top-grade spiritual weapon level, and Lu Pan. Unless you have 4 golden elixir peaks, don't even think about breaking through. This formation stretched across the sky for 2 hours. Suddenly there was a flash of golden light. Vivian, Lu Pan, Tianluo Umbrella, etc. all flew into Jufeng Mountain. And Jufeng Mountain fell like lightning and disappeared into the ground. Everyone was shocked and quickly used the earth escape technique to reach the underground of the Forbidden City. The ghost world of the once large Ixinjiluo family has disappeared. In just 2 hours, the underworld that could withstand the peak of the golden elixir disappeared. This news spread quickly throughout the entire cultivation world like a storm. Su Junming, who had done this amazing move, was already on his way to Uncle Ju's dojo. There was the sound of horse hooves, and a tall black horse walked forward along the official road. A young Taoist wearing a green Taoist robe and a copper bell hanging from his waist was lying on the horse with his eyes slightly closed. As if it had taken root, no matter how bumpy the black horse was, it couldn't fall off. Business travelers who passed by saw the scene and were all amazed. There are shrewd ones who want to step forward and make friends, but they can't catch up with this seemingly unhappy dark horse. The clone controls the black horse to move forward. On the other side of Jufeng Mountain, Su Junming is also practicing Yimeng Huangliang. The ghost world that has swallowed up the Ixinjiluo family group does not care about Yimeng Huangliang as a big tonic. Not only is the yin qi strong enough to cause thousands of miles of yin world, but more importantly, there are millions of yin souls including Nuerhasi and Huangtaiji. Ordinary souls must of course be converted and allowed to re-enter reincarnation. But those ferocious souls, like Nuerhasi, can become the accumulation of their own underworld. Of course, complete digestion is not something that can be accomplished in a short time. In addition, there are countless ghost weapons in this yin. The refined iron and refined copper energy contained in them, as well as the killing energy in the ghost soldiers, can be used to practice the demon-slaying sword. Especially Nuerchi's long knife. It was originally just a 100-forged steel knife that he carried with him, but because of too many killings, the strong killing spirit turned this knife into a killing weapon that could rival high-grade spiritual weapons. Device. And such a killing weapon is the best material for the advancement of the demon-slaying sword. When Su Junming was practicing Yimen Huangliang and demon-slaying sword while rushing towards Uncle Ju's dojo. 100 miles away, Uncle Ju's dojo in Beichi town was indeed decorated with lights and colorful decorations, making it a lively scene. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 268. Chapter 264 Uncle Nine gets married. Senior brother, double happiness has arrived, congratulations, congratulations, Taoist priest Simu said with cupped hands. Uncle Ju's old-fashioned face was now beaming with joy. Not only has he advanced in cultivation to get a glimpse of the real world, but more importantly, his daughter-in-law, who has not yet married, is now pregnant. Although he is a cultivator, Uncle Ju is not immune to secularism. The joy of having a successor is greater than anything else. Same joy, same joy. He looked at the young man standing behind Simu, with a pot haircut and a hint of naivete on his face. Is this Jiali? Congratulations, uncle, for advancing to the realm of seeing the reality. I wish you a happy wedding and a son soon, Jiali said quickly. Uncle Ju nodded with a smile on his face. We haven't seen each other for a few years, Jiali has also advanced to the advanced level of innateness. Junior brother is a good teacher. Although this boy is stupid, he is still diligent in his practice. Coupled with the elixir left by Junming, he finally succeeded in advancing at a young age. After finishing speaking, There was a sigh on Simu's face. It's a pity that Junming is not here, otherwise today would be even more lively. He wants to suppress the fire eyes and can't get away, Uncle Ju said. Four Eyes nodded. This kid used to be very smart. How could he get into such big trouble? Although it is troublesome, if it can persist for 100 years, it will be a great merit. Junior brother, you are wrong. I'm just complaining. After all, I haven't seen you for so many years. How could I, the master, not miss you? By the way, my aunt, senior sister, no, I should call you sister-in-law. You can call it whatever you want, it's up to you, Uncle Ju said with a smile. This is not okay, the etiquette must not be discarded. After a pause, why didn't my sister-in-law come out with you to entertain the guests? Uncle Sun is here. She and Ting Ting are greeting each other inside. That's it? How about it? Uncle Sun didn't give you a good look. Seeing him winking, Uncle Ju didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Junior brother, you are already a grown-up, why do you still like to inquire about such family affairs? Haha, who made you my senior brother? Just then, Wen Ke ran in. Master, Uncle Kin he is here. Please. Yes. Junior brother, I want to greet the guests, so please sit here for a while. Senior brother, why are you being polite to me? I came here in advance just to help. The two are brothers in the same discipline, and they studied under the same master. Although they are not connected by blood, they are better than brothers. Now that Uncle Ju is getting married, he also has to take on the responsibility of greeting guests and handling sundries. After hearing what he said, Uncle Ju was not polite. Then junior brother, come with me to welcome the guests. Four Eyes nodded. Jia Le, go and greet the guests at the door with your two junior brothers. Jia Le nodded and ran out quickly. Although Uncle Ju is not like Taoist priest Four Eyes who expelled corpses to become a Taoist, he travels all over the world and has a wide circle of friends. However, as the sixth cultivator of the realm of seeing the truth in the Ming dynasty of the southern sect of Mission, he has a respected status, so all the disciples of Mission who could come here arrived on the day of the wedding banquet. 20 or 30 seniors, plus their disciples. The whole yard was packed. When Zhao Lai, the head of the Mission Southern sect, arrived with his disciple Chen Zhen and his disciple Lu Changqing, the atmosphere reached a climax. Zhao Lai had achieved the golden elixir 3 years ago. However, there has been a debate within Mission about the candidate for the next leader, and he has not resigned yet. Congratulations to senior nephew Lin for advancing to the golden elixir. Now that I'm married to my aunt, junior nephew, I, Mao Shan, am really happy. After saying that, he turned around. Sister, you have found a good son-in-law. The majestic Jade Tiger Master Sun Changjing glared at Uncle Ju. If I hadn't seen that he still had some potential, I wouldn't have let my concubine wait for her for so many years. Being scolded in front of so many people, Uncle Ju couldn't help but show a hint of embarrassment on his face. The concubine, who was somewhat similar to the later generation Wu Rujun, quickly hugged her master's arm. Master, don't talk about him today on this special day. Sun Changjing looked at his apprentice lovingly, then turned to look at Uncle Ju with a cold look again. For my concubine's sake, I won't pursue the past. If you dare to treat them badly in the future, I won't beat you. Master, don't worry, Lin Fengjiao will never dare to treat junior sister lightly, Uncle Ju said quickly. It better be so. Okay, okay. People are almost here. I think we should start quickly. Everyone is waiting for the wedding. Zhao Lai smoothed things over. What the master said is true. Everyone echoed. A monk's wedding is no different from a secular wedding. Zhao Lai and Sun Changjing were sitting at the top, and Uncle Ju and Auntie, dressed in red robes, were about to kneel down. Just as a dong sound was heard outside, the courtyard door collapsed. King, who was responsible for looking after the home and nursing home, was beaten until he vomited blood and fell to the ground seriously injured. Everyone looked back subconsciously. A monk, a layman, and a Taoist walked in side by side. The monk is tall, holding a goose egg thick Zen staff, and has a fierce look on his face. The tall, thin middle-aged man wearing a black gown next to him had a sinister look on his face, and he knew at a glance that he was not a good person. The last Taoist was wearing a purple bagua robe and his face was purple, which was very different from ordinary people. Sun and Moon Monk Qian Xiao. The White Bone Lord Man Fang. Purple-faced Tian Luo Sun Chengzong. Zhao Lai, Sun Changjing, and Uncle Ju looked solemn. The person coming is Jin Dan, and only the three of them can stop him here. It turns out that you three are the scourge of the White Lotus section. I didn't look for you, but you came to find me yourself? Forget it, today I am going to get rid of you three scourges for the cultivation world. The wooden crutch in Sun Changjing's hand hit the ground with a thud, and the tyrannical energy shook the void. Old Qian woman, stop bragging here. You want to kill the three of us? Just take a piss and look in the mirror first, Sun Changzong said sarcastically. Sun Changjing has a hot temper, but he can't bear it after hearing this. With a wave of the wooden stick in his hand, the Jiamu spiritual energy surged, and a 3-foot-long wooden pile, completely condensed from the Jiamu spiritual energy, hit the three of them. The momentum is surging and unparalleled. Boom! There was a loud earthquake, and Sun Changjing stepped back 3 or 4 steps before standing firm. Zhao Lai and Uncle Ju looked shocked. Sun Changjing is already at the 4th level of the Golden Core. Even if Qian Xiao, Man Fang, and Sun Chengzong all attack together, it is impossible for her to be defeated in one move. Who? Come out. A woman wearing a white skirt, with gold rings on her feet and a jade belt around her waist, with a charming and beautiful temperament, came up from the sky step by step. I've met the holy lady. Qian Xiao, Man Fang, and Sun Chengzong bowed quickly. Sun Changjing stared at the visitor with a heavy face and said in a condensed voice. Wen Ruyi. He, I didn't expect that after so many years, someone would still know me. What do you want from your visit today? Sun Changjing spoke to Uncle Ju at the same time. I'll hold them back, and you hurry up and take my concubine away. Uncle, if I leave you alone today, how will my nephew behave in the future? Uncle Ju said in a message. Pedantry. Even if we go together, we are no match for this White Lotus sect demon girl. If you escape, you will still have a chance to avenge me in the future. And you have the heart to see your unborn child, who has not yet seen this world. Are you going to die here? Uncle Ju was shocked. If it were him, why not die? But thinking of his unborn child, Uncle Ju couldn't help but hesitate. Do you want to escape? I advise you to give up your thoughts. A large formation has been set up here a long time ago. Unless you all have golden elixir cultivation, you can't even think of leaving. Slender jade fingers played with the long hair at the temples, looking at the desperate mission disciple with cat-playing eyes, and smiled charmingly. As long as you surrender to my White Lotus sect, I won't kill you today. Demon girl, kill me if you want and make me surrender with all my eyes. You are delusional. Wen Ruyi's eyes turned cold. Since you want to die, I will help you. There was a loud boom. A tough transparent shield appeared above the dojo, and the formation space formed by the large formation cracked inch by inch. Everyone's faces changed color, and many people showed despair. At this time, who dares to do harm to our teacher? The mighty sound waves were earth-shattering. A jade bamboo staff dozens of feet long, like a giant pillar holding up the sky, swept over with astonishing momentum. Wen Ruyi's expression changed drastically. She stretched out her hand and a colorful lotus flower expanded instantly. There was a loud thunder-like sound in the sky, and the colorful lotus was instantly blown away. When Ruyi is no longer as calm as before. Standing on the lotus, he stared solemnly at the tall young Taoist who was striding across the sky, wearing a blue Taoist robe and a copper bell hanging from his waist. He reached out and made a move, and the green bamboo staff instantly shrank and fell into his right hand. Clang! Bamboo sticks hitting stone slabs are like hitting bells and chimes. Junming. His eyes were full of joy. He nodded towards his master and turned away. After I take care of this White Lotus sect monster, I'll come back and congratulate my uncle. After that, without waiting for Uncle Ju's reply, he flicked his sleeves and robe, and his whole body rose into the sky. Looking at the energetic young Taoist, Wen Ruyi's eyes were solemn, but his face was as bright as a smile. Little brother, why don't people know that there is a number one person like you in mission? You don't know me, but I have known you for a long time. A light flashed in his hand. Look. Among the many seals, a transparent and colorless lotus petal appeared in Wen Ruyi's eyes. 7 Emotions Demonic Lotus. Wen Ruyi was surprised and then overjoyed. In a war 100 years ago, although she was lucky enough to survive, she recultivated her natal spiritual weapon, the 7 Emotions Demonic Lotus. But the best materials are hard to come by. No matter how much you practice, it can't compare to the first one. Therefore, she has been searching for the whereabouts of the 7 Emotions Demonic Lotus fragments for many years. After 100 years, only one lotus petal is needed to gather them together. Now that what she had longed for many years was right in front of her, how could Wen Ruyi not be happy? Su Junming moved his hands and put the lotus petals into the gourd at his waist. Since I got this thing, it has been still in the gourd because it has been difficult to refine. Later, the cultivation level advanced, but even after refining, I didn't have time to spare. If he hadn't met Wen Ruyi today, he would have almost forgotten that he still had the petals of the 7 Emotions Demonic Lotus in his hand. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 269. Chapter 265, Kill 3 Golden Pills. Little brother, let's discuss it. You give me the petals of the 7 Emotions Demonic Lotus. How about we, the White Lotus sect, don't embarrass you today and retreat immediately? Wen Ruyi scratched her head and made a charming gesture. Haha, you want to leave, but Pandeo doesn't want you to leave alive. After giving a cold smile, he raised one palm. Disease. The copper bell on his waist swayed, a clear and distant sound that penetrated into the soul. Wen Ruyi, including Sun Moon Monk Qian Xiao, White Bone True Monarch Manfang and purple-faced Heavenly Lord Sun Chengzong, their voices and expressions were instantly dull. Yimeng's yellow beam split into 4 parts and flew towards the 4 people like lightning. Wen Ruyi's cultivation reached the late stage of Jindan. After being stunned for a moment, he quickly woke up. 7 Emotions Divine Light. The lotus under the feet shoots out a 7-color spiritual light, which shines directly on the flying yellow rice. But this can color the mind and confuse the consciousness. The moment it touches the yellow rice, it is like a mud cow entering the sea and being swallowed instantly. How can it be? What her 7 Emotions Divine Light is best at is deceiving people and cutting off the connection between the spiritual weapon and its owner. Even if it is a natal magical weapon, its power will be greatly reduced, and it may even be taken away by her. But not only did it not work this time, but it also suffered a loss. Looking at the flying yellow rice, Wen Ruyi urged the lotus, a red light flashed, and a red long knife slashed towards the yellow rice with lightning. The crimson sword energy is extremely sharp. Be careful, this is the 7 Emotions Demonic Sword of the White Lotus Demon Girl, Sun Changjing reminded. Thank you, Grand Master, for waking up. Su Junming's fingers changed. The Dharma realm of the universe. 365 grains of yellow rice were divided into 4 levels of Dharma realm, which contain the Sun and Moon Monk Qian Xiao, the white bone god Lord Manfang and the purple-faced heavenly Lord Sun Changzong respectively. They don't have Wen Ruyi's cultivation and magic power, so they haven't been able to escape the soul-seizing sound of the soul-seizing bell. Of course, if Su Junming hadn't practiced the soul-calling bell sacrifice to the 5 spiritual taboos, he probably wouldn't have been able to restrain the 3 of them. In the last level of the Dharma realm, when Ruyi's 7 emotions demonic sword was collected, and then it hit the 7 emotions demonic lotus. With a flash of light, the entire lotus flower was taken in. When Ruyi saw something bad and hurriedly avoided it. At the same time, the fingers in his hands changed, trying to take back the natal spiritual weapon. How can it be possible for you to get what you want? Jingle bell. The crisp and distant soul-catching bell rang. When Ruyi's eyes froze, and the movements in his hands stopped involuntarily. The remaining 3 universe Dharma realms flew over instantly. 4 in 1, the 7 emotions demonic lotus is directly installed. A giant yellow rice with a diameter of 100 feet was born. The 3-dimensional Dharma realm of reincarnation, Padian power and soul power was integrated. The power of the realm was even greater than that of the ghost world of the Ixangeluo family, which only had yin energy. Not to mention that the 7 emotions demonic lotus is only a high-grade spiritual weapon from the 9 spiritual forbidden spirits. Even a perfect level spiritual weapon can be suppressed by turning the palm of one's hand. Simu, is this really your disciple? Looking at the giant yellow rice in the sky, covering the sky and the sun, with extremely powerful aura, Zhao Lai said with shock on his face. The 4-eyed Taoist priest was also dumbfounded. He was also surprised that his disciple's cultivation was so amazing. However, seeing the disbelief, envy, and even jealousy in the eyes of his fellow disciples around him, Taoist Master 4 Eyes closed his mouth and raised his chin proudly. Reporting to the leader, it is my eldest disciple Su Junming. It's unbelievable. This boy's cultivation has probably reached the middle stage of the realm of seeing the truth, Zhao Lai exclaimed in a tone of surprise. It's the 6th level of the realm of seeing the truth. Sun Changjing himself has a level 4 cultivation level, so he is naturally far better able to distinguish Su Junming's cultivation level than Zhao Lai, who has just broken into the realm of insight. Simu, this boy has been in Taoism for less than 20 years, right? Reporting to Uncle Master, it has been 16 years since Junming entered Taoism. He has been cultivating Taoism for exactly 20 years, 4 Eyes replied. Sun Changjing nodded, with a somewhat complicated tone. 20 years of cultivating Taoism and 16 years of entering Taoism can push his cultivation to the 6th level of the realm of seeing the truth. Moreover, his yellow rice magic weapon is no less powerful than a top-grade spiritual weapon. In addition, the top-grade spiritual weapon is bamboo stick. 4 Eyes, you have trained a good disciple for my mission Nanzong. Master Uncle is too praised, and disciples dare not take credit. Junming is what he is today, all thanks to his own efforts. As a master, I am just a leader. Master is too humble. Without you to lead the way, there would be no disciple today. Su Junming carried a bamboo stick in his hand and a copper bell hanging from his waist, floating from the air. I've met Grand Master Sun, the real person in charge. The 2 of them quickly bowed their heads in return. Although they were senior, this young disciple's cultivation was far superior to theirs, and he did not dare to regard himself as an elder. Junming, those people from the White Lotus section, Zhao Lai asked. Sun Moon Monk Xianxiao, White Bone True Monarch Man Fang, and Purple-Faced Tianluo Sun Changzong have been captured and killed by their disciples. White Lotus sect Saint Wen Ruyi was defeated and fled. If it weren't for the power borrowed from God, it would not belong to oneself and would be difficult to control. Afraid of hurting the mission fellow disciples below in a fight, Wen Ruyi also wanted to stay here. Zhao Lai was horrified and moved. Sun Changjing's brows twitched. Everyone around also screamed in surprise. After Su Junming's eyes quickly swept across them, he fixed on Uncle Ju and bowed his head as a courtesy. Congratulations to my uncle for coming to the real world. I wish my uncle and my aunt to go to the fairyland together with the music of the piano and the harp. With a slap on the gourd on his waist, a blue and white porcelain vase and a purple magic sword flew out. I came in a hurry and didn't bring any generous gifts. I hope my uncle can accept this bottle of Biang pill and purple lightning magic sword. Guarding so many people, Uncle Ju was not polite. Put the porcelain bottle and magic sword into your bag. Junming, you are serious, Uncle Ju said. Su Junming smiled slightly and said nothing more. Without the interference from the White Lotus sect demons, the wedding of Uncle Ju and Auntie was held as planned. Everyone had a lively wedding banquet, and most people said goodbye and left the next day. In the end, only master and disciple Zhao Lai, Sun Changjing, Uncle Ju and his concubine, Simu, Su Junming and other core people were left in the Jushu dojo. Junming, you've been away for a long time, was seeing Zhou Huoyan okay that day? Don't worry, headmaster. I have set up 2 large formations there. Unless a monk at the peak of the Golden Core takes action, no one can break through them. And even if a monk of this level takes action, my formation can withstand it for a period of time. This place is so far away from the sky, seeing Zhou is not far away, enough for me to rush back. That's good. The Tianxing's Hu Fire Eye is related to the lives of thousands of people, and it is also connected to the fate of our section. There must be no mistakes. Disciple is awake, Su Junming nodded. One more thing. According to the usual practice, whenever a disciple of our sect is promoted to Jindan, he must invite fellow monks to hold a Dharma conference and officially determine the Dharma title. Master Nephew Lin's Dharma conference is scheduled for the 6th day of next month. Where do you plan to hold it? When? Zhao Lai continued to ask. Master, I still have to guard Tianxing's Hu's Fire Eye. Although there is a large formation guarding there, for the sake of safety, I don't dare to leave too far. This Dharma assembly will be omitted. As for the Dharma title, Su Junming showed a look of contemplation on his face. The monks' names are usually related to their own skills or seniority. Like Sun Changjing, she is a disciple of Mission's Zi generation, so her Taoist title after advancing to Jindan is Zi Enlightenment Taoist. As for the Taoist title Taoist Jade Tiger, many people call it in the cultivation world. Within Mission, Sun Changjing is generally called Self-Enlightened Taoist. Of course, there are also casual ones. Sun Moon Monk obviously has nothing to do with Jian Xiao's own skills, it's just a personal preference. My Dharma name should be called Chongshan. He himself is from Mission's Chong generation. Although the word Chongshan is not that amazing, it is at least much better than the Swanyan Tyrant sword. Master Chongshan Su Junming, Zhao Lai said. Since you have made up your mind, let's do it. Zhao Lai didn't say much. Master Nephew Su, how long have you advanced to the realm of seeing the truth? Sun Changjing asked. About 5 years. Can you advance to the 5th level of the realm of seeing the truth in 5 years? Sun Changjing was horrified. She had advanced to the realm of seeing the reality for almost a month, and she had only reached level 4. Comparing the two, he seems a bit too that. Not only her, but Uncle Ju, Simu, Zhao Lai and others next to her had shocked expressions on their faces at the same time. After 5 years of advancing to the 6th level of the realm of seeing the truth, they all doubted that the world of cultivation was still the end of heaven. Disciple has some luck, so he has been able to achieve such a level of cultivation in 5 years, Su Junming said with a smile. His physical cultivation is higher than his magic realm, but there is no need to show it off at this moment. Seeing that he didn't say what the specific opportunity was, Sun Changjing didn't ask any more questions. This is the most core secret of a monk. Unless the mentor is as close as father and son, anyone who asks about it will be suspected of overstepping it. In case there is a rift between the two parties, it is better to stop it as soon as possible. Later, everyone chatted about some domestic matters, and it was a very pleasant conversation. After staying at Jushu Dojo for 3 days, Su Junming, Simu, and Jiali said goodbye and left. "Ms. Sir, is this a spiritual weapon?" The concubine looked at the copper hammer with strong spiritual power in Uncle Ju's hand and said in surprise. Uncle Ju nodded. "Given it to Junming's nephew." My concubine took it and felt it. "This is a low-grade spiritual weapon of the 3 spiritual taboos. Your nephew is so generous to you. Originally, I didn't plan to get it. I never thought that this kid would give me another bawang forced bao. By the time I got the copper hammer, he had already gone far away from junior brother Four Eyes." Uncle Ju shook his head. "Why not? This is a spiritual weapon. No one else can ask for it. It's precisely because others can't ask for it, so I can't ask for it. A spiritual weapon is too precious," Uncle Ju said seriously. "I think you are just too old-fashioned. You both came from the same sect and have a close relationship that is unparalleled by others. Moreover, your nephew has a high level of cultivation, and the spiritual weapons in his hands are either top grade or top grade. No one can use a low-grade spiritual weapon. Come on, you are still here pretending to be noble. I don't care. This copper hammer is a wedding gift from your nephew to us. If you don't want it, I will keep it for my son in the future." The concubine waved her hand and put the copper hammer into her bag. "You greedy shrew." The concubine rolled her eyes. "Oh, son, listen, your father is so cruel that he wants to beat your mother." Uncle Ju waved his hands angrily and walked out of the room. Looking at his back, the concubine smiled proudly. "Boy, I still can't deal with you. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes." Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 270. Chapter 266, Four Eyes Overcoming Tribulation. "Master, will you and your junior brother stay in my Wuzang Peak cave for a while? We haven't seen each other for a long time." Four Eyes nodded. "I would have gone even if you didn't tell me. I haven't seen you for so many years, and you have already advanced to the realm of truth-seeing. If it hadn't been for this chance coincidence, I wouldn't have known about it," Simu said with dissatisfaction. Su Junming felt a little embarrassed. If he hadn't been trapped in the wilderness for 5 years, he wouldn't have been able to hide it from his eyes for so long. "I have been practicing in seclusion before and failed to report to the master in time. I still hope." Okay. You are so promising and it's too late to be happy for your teacher. How can you blame me?" Simu waved his hand to interrupt. "But you won't be allowed to do this again." "Master, don't worry. The copper hammer I left for your uncle just now should be a spiritual weapon, right?" Su Junming nodded. "That is the natal spiritual weapon of purple-faced heavenly Luo Sun Changzong. I have no use for it. I will leave it to my uncle as a congratulatory gift after practicing it." With a flip of his hand, a red copper gun with sparkling light appeared in his hand. "Master, I give this to you." Simu took it and looked at it twice before returning it to him. "Master, I have other spiritual weapons for use." Four Eyes waved his hand to interrupt him. "I know your filial piety is commendable. Master is not polite to you either. But I will leave this spiritual weapon with you first. I will come to you to get it after I have passed the catastrophe for my master." Su Junming frowned. "Master wants to survive the tribulation. Well, my master has been at the peak of Xiantian for many years, and his magic power has been polished and perfected. It's time to consider overcoming the tribulation," Four Eyes affirmed. "Master, the difficulty of the heavenly tribulation, why don't you settle down for a few more years?" Although he had given Simu a lot of Biang pills in the early years, he also gave him his experience in practicing the Shen de Zhenju, and he passed it on to him. But the Fourth Eye's background is still much worse than that of Jushu. Now that we are going through the tribulation, we are not certain that we will fail, but we are not too sure of it. Shimu sighed. A year ago, the headmaster officially informed all disciples of the news of the 1003 Great Tribulations. Your uncle originally had no intention of overcoming the tribulation, but now he has to do so. Fortunately, he succeeded. My master is like this now. He must overcome the tribulation before the 1003 Great Tribulations. Otherwise, even if he does not fall under the heavenly tribulation, he will die in the 1003 Great Tribulations. Seeing the master's firm expression, Su Junming knew that he could not persuade him anymore. Master, when we get to Wuzang Peak Cave Heaven, we will discuss the Shen de Zhenju. That's all Su Junming can help. The way of heaven cannot be deceived. Unless it is a natal magic weapon that you have practiced by yourself, it cannot be used to overcome tribulations. Otherwise, it will be considered by heaven as an external intervention, and the thunder will be more than 10 times more violent in an instant. Therefore, among the many spiritual weapons in Su Junming's hands, none of them can be used. Knowing his apprentice's intentions, he didn't refuse him in his eyes. And one more thing. Facing the master's questioning gaze, Su Junming said in a deep voice. This time I went to West Kunlun and found the master's bones. His eyes were startled, and after he realized what he was doing, he became excited instantly. Hold Su Junming's arms tightly with both hands. Real? Yes. Where is it? Tell me quickly. I was temporarily placed in the Wuzang Peak Cave Heaven. Quick, take me there. Seeing his excited eyes, Su Junming waved his sleeves, supported him and Jiali, and flew straight towards the Wuzang Peak Cave. A land of 300 miles was quickly crossed. Came to Su Junming's residence built next to the wooden house. The escape light fell, and he came to the side room with his 4 eyes. In the large room, a sarcophagus was placed on the ground in the middle. This is it. His eyes and hands trembled slightly, his face trembled, his eyes were expectant and timid, and he walked slowly over. Su Junming has never seen such eyes. Shishi. With a slightly harsh friction sound, I pushed the sarcophagus away. Looking at the bones wrapped in the old Taoist robes and the bronze mirror placed on the chest, the 4 eyes, who have known each other day and night for many years, immediately recognized that this was exactly what his master wore back then, and the aura remaining in the natal magic weapon was also the same. Instantly, sadness arose in my heart. Master! With a shout, 2 lines of tears flowed down the corners of his eyes. Su Junming sighed, pulled Jiali and retreated, leaving space for 4 eyes. Brother, Master. Master is just too emotional, let him vent. He looked up and down and patted Jiali on the shoulder. Okay, I haven't seen you in a few years, and my junior brother has also advanced to the innate level. Jiali shyly touched the back of his head. If it weren't for the elixir left by my senior brother, I wouldn't have advanced to Xiantian so quickly. Elixirs are just auxiliary, the more important thing is to look at yourself. Su Junming took out an umbrella from the gourd. Here, this is a gift from senior brother to your advanced innateness. Jiali waved his hands repeatedly. Senior brother, you have already given me a lot of things, I can't take them. Throw the umbrella into his arms. Take it. Your senior brother, I have advanced to the realm of seeing the reality. This 4-elephant umbrella is a top-quality magic weapon, and I have no use for it. Instead of leaving it here to eat dust, I might as well give it to you. It's a good use of everything. But stop it. Just practice hard in the future and don't let down your senior brother. Jiali nodded vigorously. Thank you, senior brother. She patted his shoulder with a smile. Su Junming liked this honest junior brother very much. If it weren't for the fear that he would rely too much on the power of the magic weapon and delay his practice, he thought about giving him a few more top-quality magic weapons. The two of them waited outside for an hour before they came out with swollen eyes and sad expressions. Junming, where is your master's soul? The disciple didn't find the master's soul, only the bones. I'm afraid. Although he didn't say it, he knew with his eyes that his master was probably gone. Who killed your master? Four Eyes said with hatred. The Golden Eagle King, one of the three demon kings of West Kunlun. Knowing the existence of the wilderness is of no benefit to the Four Eyes. That place is really unfriendly to monks. After careful consideration, let the Golden Eagle King take the blame. Golden Eagle King. His eyes were suddenly startled. The three demon kings of West Kunlun are all great demons in the late Jindan period. Master, don't worry, that monster has been killed by me, and Master's great revenge has been avenged. Did you kill the Golden Eagle King? Master, please look. Su Junming opened his palm, and a glass pill, the size of a child's fist, containing 7 golden light spots and soaring evil aura, appeared in front of him. 7th Transformation Demon Pill. His eyes were startled. He took it and looked at the astonishing Golden Eagle demon soul in it. Junming, did you really kill the Golden Eagle King? It's no wonder that the Four Eyes are like this. The Golden Eagle King is a 7th turn golden elixir that has been famous for many years. He also has incredible flying speed and is extremely difficult to deal with. Although his apprentice was powerful, killing the Golden Eagle King was beyond his expectations. Although my cultivation level is not as good as his, I got a few good spiritual weapons by chance, and I was lucky enough to kill this beast. With Four Eyes, he knows that nothing is left to chance in the world of spiritual practice. His great disciple could kill the Golden Eagle King, and his strength far exceeded his imagination. He looked at his heroic eldest disciple with relief and emotion. Your master, you know, you can rest in peace now. This is the responsibility that a disciple should fulfill. Four Eyes smiled and nodded. The most proud thing in his life is to accept Su Junming as his disciple. Not only is he outstanding in talent, he is also calm and filial, which is really rare. Now that the whereabouts of your master are known, and your great revenge has been avenged by you, I can finally go through the tribulation without any worries. Master, I have made up my mind to be my teacher, there is no need to persuade me any more. Shimu waved his hand to interrupt. By the way, don't tell your uncle about the discovery of your master's bones for the time being. He is newly married, so you can tell him after a while. Su Junming nodded. At the Jushu dojo, he didn't say anything about it because he had this concern. Also, if I fail to overcome the tribulation. Master, you will definitely be able to successfully overcome the tribulation and advance to the realm of seeing the truth. Su Junming interrupted. Haha, of course I am confident that I will succeed. However, life is unpredictable, and you must worry about defeat before you win. If I fail to survive the disaster, you must represent me as a master and work with your uncle to move your master's bones back to the mission headquarters. Buried in the altar. Yes. Patted him on the shoulder. Let's go and tell me about your experience in practicing Shen de Zhenju. After arranging the music, the two went into the main room and sat down cross-legged. This lecture lasted half a month. According to Su Junming, of course the longer the better. However, Taoist Master Simu refused to listen. It's not that he doesn't want to understand the more profound way of fighting, but his physical cultivation is limited, and even if he understands it, he can't use it. Master, I still have some Biang pills here. Why don't you take them and then go through the tribulation? Simu smiled and shook his head. Master, I know your good intentions, but I'm afraid that if I take the elixir, I will lose my courage and diligence. Once a demonic barrier arises in the heart, it will be difficult to overcome the calamity. This is the same reason that many strong men are afraid of injections. It's not about how painful it is, but the difficulty in overcoming the obstacles in their hearts. Let's go. Stepping forward with Four Eyes, he came to the center of the cave at Wuzang Peak. He looked up into the sky and let go of his magic power without restraint. A trace of black clouds gathered, and in an instant, the wind and clouds stirred, thunder surged in the sky of the entire Wuzang Peak cave, and an invisible energy enveloped the eyes. "You two, back off." Su Junming nodded and pulled Jiali aside. "Brother, can Master succeed?" Looking at the momentum of the thunder in the sky, Jiali felt extremely uneasy. "Don't worry, Master will definitely succeed." Although he said this, Su Junming didn't have much confidence in his heart. "Lu Sanlang, a disciple of Mission Nanzang, please come to me, Lord Guanchendi. I am as urgent as the law." With his four eyes focused on his upper body, his body instantly swelled up and became as large as 1 foot in size. At the same time, a giant brass sword, 1 foot and 5 feet long and wide as the door panel, replaced the Daguan Dao, and was held in Simu's hand. Boom! After brewing for a long time, a blue-white thunder a foot wide fell down. "Hey!" With a low shout, Simu grabbed the giant sword with both hands and slashed. The powerful sword light rushed up and collided with Jilei. With a boom, thunder and sword light exploded, and the surrounding earth and rocks exploded, creating a mess. The energy dissipated, and the four eyes took a slight breath. Bang! The big sword was leaning on the ground, and he turned around and smiled at Su Junming and Jia Li. "Don't worry, it's okay. Master, we must succeed," Jiali said loudly. After nodding towards him with a smile, he looked up into the sky with a heavy expression. Thick thunder condensed, and stronger pressure enveloped the whole body. There is no doubt that the power of the second thunderbolt is far greater than the first. Gritting his teeth and using his magic power, his body expanded again and became 2 feet tall. A heavy pressure weighed on my heart. He is not Su Junming, and his physical strength can only support 2 feet at most. Click! There was a loud thunder, and a thunderbolt 3 feet thick fell down. Big sword, cut! Four eyes roared angrily, holding the sword in both hands and slashing furiously. The boiling sword energy went straight towards the thunder. A deafening explosion sounded. The thunder exploded and the sword energy flew away. Within a radius of more than 10 feet, rubble was everywhere and it was a mess. Su Junming waved his sleeves and knocked away the flying thunder and sword energy at will, keeping his eyes fixed on the field. When the dust dissipated, 4 panting eyes appeared in front of him. "Master!" Jia Li murmured to himself, his eyes full of worry. Su Junming looked solemn, looking at the condensed thunder eyes in the sky, and then looking at the current state of his 4 eyes, his heart couldn't help but rise. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 271. Chapter 267, Heaven Does Not Allow It. Rumble. The thunder was rolling, and the thunder eye had been brewing for a long time. A 9-foot-long thunderbolt, like the Milky Way pouring down, hit Taoist priest Simu directly and struck down. Seeing the momentum of the thunder, his eyes widened and he no longer hesitated in his heart. As soon as he activated the magic talisman, his body instantly expanded and turned into a 3-foot-long body. Red steam spurted out from every pore, and veins shot out like thin green snakes. The look is terrifying. Damn it! Su Junming's expression changed, and he punched in the air without caring about anything else. The mighty energy and blood soared into the sky. The huge fist was about to extinguish the third thunderbolt, when suddenly a 3-foot-long red lightning bolt shattered his giant fist instantly, as if teleporting. Then it flew straight towards him. Su Junming had long expected that the law of heaven would not allow it, so he was prepared in his heart. Gate of Hell. 365 grains of yellow rice turned into 365 overlapping gates of hell, blocking the way. But this crimson thunderbolt, which was only 1 foot in size, was extremely powerful and forcefully shattered all the gates of hell. You must know that after refining the ghost world of the Ixangeludo family, every grain of yellow rice is a top-grade spiritual weapon of the 7th level spiritual ban. To break through the obstacles of 365 high-grade spiritual weapons, even the nascent Soul 9 transformations may not be able to do it with all its strength. Su Junming looked solemn. Looking at the yellow beam of a dream, only 1 foot of red lightning was left. He urged Hu Tianshen to perform his magic just as he was about to distance himself. A tyrannical force of imprisonment descended from the sky. Damn it, the power of heaven! Unable to move, he could only watch as the red lightning struck him. In an instant, a pain that seemed to tear apart the soul spread through every nerve in the body. He clenched his teeth subconsciously, and a trace of blood flowed down the corners of his lips because of too much force. Although it lasted only a moment, he felt as if a century had passed. When the pain gradually disappeared and the power of heaven disappeared, Su Junming fell to his knees, panting heavily. His face was pale, and his body was soaked, as if he had been fished out of the water. "Brother, how are you?" Jia Li ran over in a panic. The scene just now scared him silly. "I'm fine, go see Master quickly." "Oh, I'll go right away." Nodding, Jia Li quickly ran towards Simu. Spiritual consciousness looks within. The muscles in the body were torn, the meridians were cut off, and the bones were cracked everywhere. It was extremely miserable. Fortunately, his Danshan was intact, otherwise his physical body would have been doomed. Enduring the pain in his body, he took 3 self-refined healing elixirs from the gourd and drank them. The warm medicinal power nourished his body and was refreshing, relieving the pain. His face also looked much better. "Junming, how do you feel?" "Master, you." Looking at the somewhat illusory body of Taoist Master Four Eyes, my heart was shocked. Haha, the physical body is destroyed. However, it can be regarded as overcoming the heavenly tribulation and condensing the life talisman. It is much stronger than those who directly fell to the heavenly tribulation. Taoist priest Simu smiled cheerfully. "Master, I have several Dharma protector generals condensed with zombie bodies. Why don't you choose one to take the body and be reborn?" After experiencing the thunder tribulation, the soul of a monk in the Golden Core realm already has some pure yang qualities and can seize the body. When the Golden Eagle King abandoned his body and tricked him into the wilderness, he took away a human body. No, the body that seizes the body is never itself. It cannot fit together. It will be even more difficult to survive the nascent soul tribulation in the future. Four Eyes shook his head. "Master." He waved his hand to interrupt him. "I know you have good intentions, but if you are reborn and stay in the Yang world, you will inevitably have to go through 1,000 tribulations. In this case, it is better to go to the underworld early. I think that now that the Master has a glimpse of the true realm and is protected by the ancestors of mission, coupled with the merit accumulated over the years of exorcising corpses, he will be able to find an official position in the underworld. When the time comes, he will be able to find an official position in the underworld. If you obtain the divine status, you will be considered immortal. Moreover, you can also practice the ghost path in the underworld, which is also a way. You don't have to worry about me." Su Junming was silent. The four-purpose plan really suits him. If you stay here, you have to go through the 1,003 great tribulations. According to the death rate of nearly half of the past great tribulations, whether you can retain your soul is a matter of debate. In this case, it is better to go to the underworld and be happy. At least there won't be any catastrophe there, and you can still convert to the ghost realm. I'll inform my uncle. Don't. After stopping him. Your uncle is newly married, so don't disturb him for the time being. When I enter the underworld, it won't be too late to entrust him with dreams. After a pause, Taoist Master Simu said solemnly. Junming, I won't be here from now on. Please take more care of this brat Jia Le. He is not as qualified as you and he is dull. There are too many dangers in the catastrophe. You have to protect him. Master. Jia Le burst into tears. Master, don't worry, as long as I'm here, junior brother Jiali will not be in any danger. Suddenly, a black hole filled with yin energy appeared behind Simu. Eyes and smiles. I'm going to the underworld to report, and the first 7 won't be here. You brothers and sisters must help each other. He stepped back and allowed the black hole to suck him in. Jia Le burst into tears. Su Junming sighed heavily, and the scenes of getting along with Taoist Simu in the past appeared in his mind, and the corners of his eyes couldn't help but become moist. He raised his head and looked at the light blue sky of Wuzhang Peak, feeling extremely heavy in his heart. 100 miles away, Uncle Ju, who was combing his wife's hair, suddenly stopped. What's wrong? The concubine looked at her frowning husband in the mirror and asked subconsciously. I always feel uneasy for no reason. The concubine's face changed slightly. The monk's innate spiritual sense is extremely sharp, and he will be aware of anything closely related to himself in advance. Could it be that people from the White Lotus sect are coming to visit us again? Uncle Ju shook his head. No. My spiritual sense didn't warn me, I just felt upset. Could it be that you were too obsessed last night and were not in good spirits? Uncle Ju's face darkened. It seems that he is the one being exploited. Oh, it's okay. You just didn't get enough rest. Come and comb my hair. Uncle Ju shook his head, temporarily suppressing the doubts in his heart. The Cloud Seal script is too empty, it is the beginning of the catastrophe. It is suddenly far away, sometimes sinking or floating. Su Junming, who was preaching, suddenly stopped. Jia Le opened his eyes. Senior brother. It's okay, let's continue. With Simu gone, the responsibility of teaching Jiali fell on him, his senior brother. After finishing the sermon and letting Jia Le realize it, he waved his hand and a white feathered crane flew from above. After falling into his palm, it turned into a piece of letter paper. The above is Uncle Ju's question. After a brief consideration, he wrote a few words of greeting, then flew the crane to pass the letter and sent it out. You still don't plan to tell him the news? Renwuji flew over. Master said we should wait until 3 months later, just 3 months later. Renwuji shrugged. With a wave of his hand, an iron block as big as a watermelon and a bone stick flew in front of Su Junming. I have removed the restrictions on Sun Moon Monk Kyung Xiao's Zen staff, and this is the iron piece. The bone staff was originally the morning staff of true monarch White Bones. Su Junming nodded. He opened his mouth and inhaled, and countless white bone essence flew out from the bone rod. The bones in the body digested this essence, and the injuries sustained due to the interference with the Four Eyes heavenly tribulation quickly improved. The moment the cracks on the bones disappeared, a powerful aura rose into the sky. The surging chi and blood are like the ocean tide. The entire stone house was scorched by the masculine blood, as if falling into a furnace. It took 2 months and it's finally fine. Su Junming slowly gathered his energy and blood. This can be considered a blessing in disguise for you. Your physical body has been improved further. There are only 15 acupoints left, and the earthly evil realm is now complete, Renwuji said. How are you doing with your yin-yang great grinding ceremony? Su Junming nodded and asked. Thanks to you for giving me so much pure yang spiritual material, although it has not been completely refined, it is already a top-grade spiritual weapon of the 7th level of spiritual ban. Can you erase the remaining will in the blood of Lord Huosang? I'm afraid it won't be possible until the yin-yang great mill is advanced. Magic weapon. Su Junming shook his head. The Earth Emperor Pagoda was a top-quality spiritual weapon of the 12th level spiritual band from the beginning, but after so many years of training, he did not dare to let the Earth Emperor Pagoda go through the tribulation, let alone the great tribulation of yin and yang. It seems that we can't count on Lord Huosang's severed finger and blood essence for the time being. The meat is in the pot anyway, why are you in a hurry, Renwuji said. He nodded and looked at the 1,000 refined iron underground. A white light flashed out from behind Su Junming's head, and he brushed the iron piece in. This white spiritual light is the Zhengjin divine light that he imitated in the red fire divine light ritual. All the spiritual weapons made from metal spiritual materials in his hand, such as the red copper gun, the staff of sun and moon Meng Qianxiao, etc., were condensed into this Zhengjin divine light. Gengjin's divine light is soft and strong, with endless magical uses. However, like the red fire divine light, it can only restrain metallic spiritual weapons and Taoism. As soon as my heart moved, a dreamy yellow beam flew out. 360 miles of yellow rice, shining with 9 colors of light, like a beautiful galaxy. He stretched out his hand and a lotus flower flew out. The lotus contains a lotus platform with 7 petals in 7 colors, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. This is the 7 emotions demonic lotus he received from Wen Ruyi. A top-grade spiritual weapon from the 9 spiritual forbidden spirits. If it weren't for his dream that the power of 360 yellow beams and rice combined into one was already greater than that of ordinary magic weapons, I'm afraid he still wouldn't be able to hold it. The lotus keeps trembling. Su Junming stretched out his hand and pointed, a thick chain penetrated deep into it, and pulled out Wen Ruyi's consciousness left in it. The chain is twisted, and the consciousness is extinguished. At the same time, thousands of miles away, in an underground palace, Wen Ruyi, who was sitting cross-legged in meditation, spat out a mouthful of blood. Ah! The piercing scream containing infinite hatred resounded through the underground palace. Su Junming, if you take away my spiritual weapon, I, Wen Ruyi, will fight you till death. After roaring for a long time, Wen Ruyi stopped panting. Is there someone coming? Outside the hall, a man in black robe walked in. Facing the violent aura, Wen Ruyi, whose eyes were red as if he was choosing others to devour, bent even lower. What are the saint's orders? Go to the dungeon and bring me 100 stinky men. Yes. After the man in black robe responded, he quickly went down and brought up 100 men from the dungeon. Not long after, Wen Ruyi's maniacal laughter and shrill screams could be heard in the hall. The man in black robe shivered and subconsciously took a few more steps into the distance. But unless you leave, the screams will never stop. Go, he definitely wouldn't dare. Within the White Lotus sect, Saint Wen Ruyi is notoriously vicious. After suppressing the fear in her heart for an unknown amount of time, Wen Ruyi staggered out of the palace with a rosy face, as if she was drunk. Clean it up. The man in black robe hurriedly responded, walked into the main hall and took a look, but he was still speechless. The ground was covered with blood, minced meat, and broken limbs, like a flesh and blood mill. There is no complete corpse in the huge palace. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 272. Chapter 268, Death City Prison in Vain. It took 3 days to use the yin and yang great grinding to erase the restrictions in the 7 emotions demonic lotus. Yimen Huangliang swallowed up the 7 emotions and 6 desires such as greed, lust, killing, laziness, pride and so on, which were transformed from the soul power. Only a lotus-shaped cave-like top-quality Qingyu spirit stone was left. The Qingyu spiritual stone is a spiritual object of both metal and earth elements. It is similar to the yin-yang great Mo, a spiritual creature that brings together yin and yang. It's just suitable for worshipping the Emperor Tower. Renwuji tossed the lotus in his hand. Instead of keeping the Earth Emperor Pagoda, it is better to refine it into Jukfen Mountain and use Jukfen Mountain to entrust the Earth Emperor's way. Otherwise, it would be a bit too wasteful to only use Jukfen Mountain as a treasure from the cave. Besides, we don't have that much resources. Practice 2 natal spiritual weapons. Then what's the use of suppressing the fire eyes? Su Junming asked after pondering for a moment. After so many years of absorption and refining, the fire eye has dropped by 100 feet. Even if it is not suppressed, it will not erupt. And without the Earth Emperor Tower, I still have my Yin-Yang Great Mill and Eternal Light Mirror, which are enough. Su Junming is also a decisive person. He urged Hu Tianxian to perform his magic and came to the top of the Eye of Fire. Above the vast sea of fire, a 4-story pagoda 12 feet high shines brightly. Endless earth fire was swallowed up. Su Junming stretched out his hand and pointed, and the 9 Peaks mountain flew out from Danshan. The Earth Emperor Pagoda turned into a stream of light and sank into Jukfen Mountain. Renwuji threw it casually, and the 7-petaled lotus flower also flew in. Bright auras bloomed from Jukfen Mountain. Visible to the naked eye, the world inside, which was originally 120 miles in size, began to expand rapidly. 150 miles, 200 miles, 280 miles. It doesn't stop until it reaches the size of 400 miles. The combination of 3 top-grade Dongxian spiritual weapons has greatly increased the foundation of Jukfen Mountain. A rush of mana. A strong swallowing power came from Jukfen Mountain. The Earth's fire magma was swallowed as it rolled. The vast magma lake is declining at a speed visible to the naked eye. In less than half an hour, the once flaming eye dropped 200 feet. My dear, don't swallow any more, otherwise the rock formations on the ground will lose support and Tianxing's Hu will collapse. Thousands of lives will be lost, Renwuji reminded. Su Junming nodded, his heart moved, and his swallowing power stopped. With one move of his hand, Jukfen Mountain flew into his palm. After absorbing so much earth fire, Jukfen Mountain has grown a lot. The first mountain is already 3,000 feet high, and the other 8 mountains are also 2,000 feet high. Between the 9 mountains are huge valleys and plains. 400 miles, 200 kilometers, almost comparable to a smaller province. Su Junming changed the finger gestures of his hands, and the aura of Jukfen Mountain converged, became the size of a palm, and submerged into his Danshan. Why, you're not ready to let it survive the disaster, Renwuji said. It won't be too late to survive the tribulation when we are 500 miles away. Tisk, tisk, the cave world of the lower level of the big cave is only 500 miles away. You are really as stable as an old dog. Su Junming was too lazy to pay attention to him and urged Hu Tianxian to perform his magic and leave the fire eye. He patted the gourd and took out the petals of the 7 emotions demonic lotus obtained earlier. He removed the seal on it and didn't listen to the nonsense of love demon Wen Ruyi and threw it directly into Yimeng Huangliang. The current Yimeng Huangliang is not the same as it was back then, when it was just a 5 Tiao forbidden medium-grade magic weapon. The soul-binding rope directly took her out of it, looked at her memory, recorded some of the secrets of the White Lotus sect in a book, and with a wave of his hand, there was a fierce soul in the Huangquan River. The remaining lotus petals were used to worship Jukfen Mountain, which added another mile to Jukfen Mountain. 3 months had passed. Su Junming followed the 4 eyes instructions, and he passed the letter to Uncle Ju. In less than a quarter of an hour, Uncle Ju, who had a heavy look on his face, arrived at the Wuzang Peak Cave. Uncle! Why didn't you tell me earlier? Uncle Ju was furious. Master said that my uncle just got married and I don't want to disturb you. Nonsense! How important is the whereabouts of your master? How can you hide it? And your master, he didn't tell me about the important matter of overcoming the tribulation. It really pissed me off, and he didn't let me worry about anything. This was the first time Su Junming saw him getting so angry at him. The wisest thing to do at this time is not to speak. Seeing that he and Jiali looked like they were listening to the lesson, Uncle Ju also knew that they were not at fault and got angry. "Where is your master's coffin? I'll take my uncle there." Taking Uncle Ju to the side room, Su Junming stood at the door but did not go in. Sure enough, 2/4 of an hour later, Uncle Ju looked sad, with a few bloodshot eyes, and walked out with a slight stagger in his steps. "Does your master still have any relics left behind?" "They were all destroyed by the catastrophe," Su Junming said. Uncle Ju nodded. "Bring me a basin of water." Su Junming stretched out his hand and the soil surged in the middle of the yard, and soon a stone basin took shape. With a casual move, the water vapor condensed into water, and soon the stone basin was filled. After seeing how Su Junming was able to suppress Wen Ruyi, who was in the late stage of Jindan after being in Taoism for 16 years, Uncle Ju was not surprised to see anything amazing happen to him now. When he came to the middle of the courtyard, he stepped on the gangpole and started fighting, muttering something in his mouth. The patriarchal clan of the Shangqing dynasty, the netherworld cave opens, disease. Uncle Ju pointed his fingers like swords, and a stream of green spiritual energy sank into the basin. The calm water surface instantly turned pitch black, and then 4 eyes dressed as a Yin official appeared in the water, wearing navy blue robes. Seeing Uncle Ju, his eyes were a little dodgy. "Senior brother. You still know that you have me as your senior brother, and the whereabouts of Master's body have been found. You didn't tell me such an important thing. Do you still have me as your senior brother in your eyes?" Seeing the 4 eyes, Uncle Ju's anger completely exploded. "Well, don't I miss you as a newlywed? Don't you want to disturb me?" Shimu said sarcastically. "Bullshit. Is this a reason? How old are you? Don't you know the priorities? Also, why didn't you tell me about overcoming the tribulation? With your cultivation level, can you overcome the tribulation? It's good now. The physical body is gone. What will happen to your future path? Actually, it's good to switch to the ghost path." Before he finished speaking, he was interrupted by Uncle Ju. "What a heck, it's more difficult to survive the tribulation through the ghost way, don't you know? Senior brother, even if I don't practice the ghost way, I still won't be able to become a nascent soul." Uncle Ju's expression froze. He was so angry and confused by the presumption of his 4 eyes that he forgot about the end of heaven and earth. Seeing him stop, Taoist priest Sima quickly continued. "Senior brother, don't worry about me. I am cared for by my ancestors in the underworld, and I have become the warden of the city of Wishi. Although I am not very old, I have also been admitted to the divine book. I am considered immortal, and I have been exempted from the death penalty for thousands of years. Great calamity, how wonderful. It seems that you are very proud of yourself." Uncle Ju looked gloomy. The 4-eyed Taoist priest said haha, feeling a little embarrassed. "How could it be possible? This is a helpless move on my part, senior brother." Uncle Ju took a deep breath. "Now that the matter has come to this, what else can I say? You should practice well in the underworld. If you encounter difficulties, please ask for help from our mission elders. Yin and Yang are separated. Even if I want to help, I can't help you. Senior brother, don't worry, I will do it even if you don't say it. Junming and Jia Le are both here, do you have anything else to explain?" His eyes were stunned, and then he complained. "Senior brother, why don't you find a hidden place?" Apparently he disliked the scene of being trained just now and was embarrassed in front of his disciples. "You've done everything, and you're still afraid of what others will say," Uncle Ju scolded. In front of his senior brother, he couldn't stand firm in his eyes. "Let that brat Jiali come over. Master calls you." Su Junming pushed Jiali. The latter nodded and hurriedly walked to Uncle Ju. "Master. You brat, when I was in my first 7 years as master, I went to see the monk Yuxiu. He promised to give you Ching Ching as your wife. when I go back to mission with your uncle and brother to bury your master, he will let you master. I will help you witness the marriage and get married to Ching Ching. Thank you, master. Jia Li said happily. Ching Ching is a good girl. She will treat others well in the future. Don't worry, master, I will definitely treat her well. Four Eyes nodded. That's it, I won't say anything about Jun Ming. He is the one I feel most at ease with. Uncle Ju nodded, waved his hand, and the image in his eyes gradually faded away. Jun Ming, if you follow me back to mission to bury your master, what will happen to Huoyan? Master, don't worry, except for the big formation. The fire in the fire eye has been suppressed by nearly 400 feet. Even if you want it to erupt, it will take a lot of time. By then, it will be enough for me to come back. In that case, let's set off. Master Uncle, why don't you tell my aunt and uncle? I already said it when I came out. Su Junming nodded, taking Jia Li with him. Uncle Ju took his master's sarcophagus with him, and the two of them took up the escape light and flew straight towards Luofu Mountain, where the southern sect of Mission was located. This is Su Junming's third visit to the sect. As soon as the escape light fell, the disciples on duty came to greet him. Jiao Lin has met Master Yai Mei and Master Chong Shan. Obviously, after Zhao Lai returned to the sect, he had already spread the news about the two people's advancement to the realm of seeing the truth throughout the sect. Uncle Ju nodded. The two of us are going back to our section. Disciple will send two real people in now. After saying that, and performing the ritual, a awning boat suddenly appeared on the lakeside. The Mission Nanzong sect is suppressed by the five elements formation, which makes it difficult for outsiders to enter without permission. Thank you. Uncle Ju bowed his head as a courtesy. I don't dare. You two gentlemen please. Uncle Ju and Su Junming floated up with Jiali, and the awning boat came to the center of the lake. The three of them activated the 9 heavenly capital divine fire seal in the Danshan and disappeared instantly. It would be great if I advanced to the realm of seeing the truth. Jiao Lin sighed enviously. Arriving at the sect, Uncle Ju and the other two went straight to the Shangqing Hall. Lin Feng Jiao and Su Junming want to see the leader. Not long after, Zhao Lai's figure appeared on the middle seat. Senior nephew Lin, Junming, is this Jiali? I've met the leader. Jiali hurriedly bowed. He didn't have the confidence of his uncle or senior brother, so he felt very panicked when facing Zhao Lai, who was the leader of the sect. People from the same sect, there is no need to be polite. After a pause, are you here because of the death of Master Nephew Lu? Master Nephew Lu is Taoist Master Simu, and his lay name is Lu Sanlang.